this guy Leo White on her show, and he had been talking all this economic nationalism stuff. I'm like, oh no, oh no. And, lo and behold, a few days after that, I released my own podcast on economic nationalism, just
Now,
debunking.
what is that? What is economic nationalism? I mean, we've heard about what nationalism is. It's sort of like worship
Sounds
for
to
the
me like
country.
protectionism.
It's exactly what it is. It's exactly protectionism, and
It's how we get Mexico to pay for the wall.
Right, yeah, Mexico to pay for the wall, and China and Japan, and everyone's stealing our gerbs. They're taking our gerbs, and it's just like a whole load of nonsense that there's a lot of history behind it. It's not like these ideas are in any way new.
No.
Not in the least, but I've got a question for you real quick before we get into some of the specifics about what the different positions are. I've heard a lot of people over, I'd say like the last 4 or 5 years, use the term debate to basically mean let's yell and scream at each other. Whereas, 20 plus years ago, I was actually on the debate team in high school.
Of course you were.
Where, there was a structure of each person had an opening statement, and then there was the follow-up, and then there was the rebuttal. So there were 3 steps to it, and it was a formal, structured thing. And
were there judges as well?
There were judges, yes. And then, there's the other style, I forget what it's called, to where the audience is polled beforehand. How many people agree with this statement? How many people disagree? How many people are undecided? And then the people give their opening statements. They answer questions from a moderator, from the audience. And then at the end, how many people agree with this statement? How many people disagree? How many are undecided?
Did somebody watching change their opinion?
Correct. And then there's an actual winner based on who brought the most people to their side. So is it something like that, or just you're going to be yelling and screaming at somebody?
Let's say it's somewhere in between. What I like would be something, Will Buckley's old firing line show, where he'd actually have a full hour of conversations from the left and from the right. I mean, he had Gore Vidal on, he had Noam Chomsky on, he had Thomas Sowell on, he had Milton Friedman on, he had all these great minds, whether you agreed with them or not. There were like powerful intellectual figures, and they would talk. They'd have their points. They'd go back and forth, but it wasn't the way we have now with 2 bobbing heads going back and forth, the host of the show, Sean Hannity, in the middle, and then these 2 voices that are just talking over each other. So it's not going to be a debate in the traditional sense where there's going to be judges and there's going to be some sort of poll or anything like that, but it's also not going to be what you see on Fox News where it's just 2 people shouting over each other and no real ideas actually being told.
So what is the venue? I mean, how are folks who are interested able to go and check this out?
It'll be live on YouTube on Steph McWilliams' Right Millennial YouTube channel, and all the links for it are all over my social media pages. So if folks want to find it, they can follow me on Twitter at Tim_Preuss, and it's pinned to the top of my profile, so they can just click the link there and watch it live. Again, it's 9:00 Eastern time.
Which, of course, means you're competing
tonight
with Free Talk
Live. Yeah, I was
Live,
just thinking of the same thing.
Well, with our 3.
Right.
Well, hopefully I can get a few libertarians chiming in, and they can just take hashtag Team Preuss or hashtag
Are they going to take
FPL.
questions? Are they going to be monitoring some kind of Twitter feed, or how's that going to work?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a live chat.
If it's live on YouTube, then YouTube has the chat room on the side.
Sure,
Exactly.
but nobody wants to read that. Usually, it's just full of trolls and terrible, nasty comments.
There are actually some podcasts that I listen to where they do a live feed on YouTube, and they'll read through and answer questions that are posted in their live stream.
Wow. All right.
Yeah. I've had that before where I've done debates with people on YouTube, and in the middle of the debate, the moderator will kind of step in and say, hey, someone from the chat asks this, and I'll have to just answer something off the top of my head. So that'll, I imagine, most certainly be the case tonight.
So this will be a moderated debate between you and this other person?
Yeah, Steph McWilliams will be moderating it. It's between myself and Leo White. who I don't know. I mean, I just like they pulled this person out of the cloud somewhere.
So you haven't like researched the dude. You haven't gone to watch some of his other, if he's got other videos or other appearances. You're kind of going into the sight unseen.
I'm going into it a little bit sight unseen. I mean, I've listened to an interview he did with Steph, but
Okay.
for the most part, I like to kind of go into it sight unseen. That way, it's a little bit more fun.
Yep.
And I don't want to prepare. I mean, I have a notebook full of notes where I want to go over specific points, specific arguments against him.
So
but
he's going to be
other than
taking
that-
the protectionist side of things. He's going to be arguing for tariffs, for restrictions, for trade barriers. You're going to be arguing for the free market, get the government out of the way. Is that right?
Exactly. I am taking the most pure libertarian stance I possibly can. I don't want government telling people what they can and cannot buy, whether it's within our borders or outside of our borders.
No doubt about it. And I think this is an important issue that a lot of people just they don't understand. There's a lot of emotion that's attached to this. A lot of the kind of the this is where we're from. That I don't know what the word is for that, but like people
Xenophobia.
Okay, xenophobia is a way to word that for sure. I guess nationalism is like the right word for it. Like our country's the best in the world, and we need to make sure that our jobs and our industries are protected from competition. We can't be having Americans buying things for less from other places in the world, so then they have more money to spend.
I always wondered why we don't have the same thing, but amongst states, like within the United States.
Tariffs within the U.S. That's why the United States exists,
because
right?
the federal constitution does not allow tariffs.
No, I know, but
within
people
the United
arguing
States.
that, right? I mean, they should
Arguing
be arguing
for them.
if they're arguing for tariffs, at the national border,
Right.
they should be arguing amongst the states too.
That's a great point. If it's a good idea to have tariffs nationally, then why aren't the people in Oklahoma or Colorado or wherever arguing to have tariffs to protect the industries
because
within
they're
their
not
states?
allowed to, because the U.S. Constitution prohibits that.
Sure, but that wouldn't stop them from arguing for it. Like this
we're
is
not
such
talking
a
about
good idea.
what the law is. We're talking about what should be.
What they want it to be, right? Tim, you want to stick with us? Talk more about protectionism?
Oh, absolutely.
All right,
I'm all on board.
More with Tim Preuss here from the Tim Preuss Podcast. We'll also take your calls and thoughts here. You can join us. Maybe you are a protectionist. You're welcome to weigh in. 855-450-FREE. This is Free Talk Live.
I got my Blink home security system delivered right to my door. I downloaded the app and it walked me right through the easy setup. Even with my complicated router system, I was done in like 10 minutes. Now it notifies me whenever something moves in front of the wireless cameras, or I can just check it whenever I want right from my phone. And I got you a deal. Get 3 Blink cams for what the other guys charge you for 1, plus an extra 10% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL.
The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
Earlier this year, after many years of conflict over the direction of Bitcoin, the creators of Bitcoin Cash did just what they were told to do. They forked off. Now there are 2 Bitcoins, the one that is run by the big bank patsies, and Bitcoin Cash, the one that stays true to the creator's vision. Bitcoin Cash has surprised many with its relevancy and staying power, and the price reflects it. If you believe that Bitcoin was meant to be a low-cost, easy-to-use, peer-to-peer currency that could bring economic freedom to the world, you need Bitcoin Cash. Get your Bitcoin Cash wallet right now at bitcoin.com.
Do you want to help build a better financial system for everyone? Join Dash. Dash is Digital Cash, a digital money platform designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast and easy. Fees are low and transactions are confirmed instantly. Dash is decentralized, run by users who earn rewards for helping run the network and make governance decisions. Help people take control over their financial future today. Find out more at dash.org.
If you're looking for work, you know the math. There are many more applicants than openings, so you need to stand out, not blend into the blah, blah, blah your interviewer is hearing from your competition. Here's a tip. In your interview, you will be judged more by the questions you ask than the answers you give. Yes, do anticipate the obvious job interview questions and prepare concise, insightful, glass-half-full sounding responses. And you should interview your interviewer. Seem genuinely curious about what will help get results. With money and attention so scarce now, effective communication skills have never been more important. You want to cut through the clutter. For more tips for job seekers and making all the other conversations you have more productive, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
You may already know about the Free Talk Live audio on demand phone line at 641-793-9660. Did you know that not only can you listen to Free Talk Live via your phone, you can also leave a message and have it delivered to Free Talk Live's hosts? To leave us your thoughts, just dial 641-793-9660. That's 641-793-9660. Press 2 for Free Talk Live, and then hit 0 to leave your message.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Boost Kid Essentials Nutritionally Complete Drink, providing your picky eater with essential nutrition and great taste in one drink. Visit us at kidessentials.com. To make sure your kids eat healthy, follow the 5-a-day plan. Serve 3 servings of vegetables and 2 servings of fruit daily. Remember, a serving could just mean a piece of fruit or a half cup of veggies. If your kids are picky eaters, ask a nutritionist about other sources. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live, and of course you can bring up whatever you want. Our toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Maybe you are a protectionist. You're somebody who believes that there needs to be government restrictions on what can come in and what can leave the United States and how much you have to pay for the privilege of being able to bring things in if you are allowed to bring them in at all. You're welcome to call in and join us here. We've got Tim Preuss on the line with us from the Tim Preuss podcast at PreussPodcast.com, and we're going to continue with him here in a moment. But I want to let you know about a really great tool to, I guess, subvert or transverse borders, to bypass borders. Bitcoin. You can easily send whatever amount of value from point A to point B anywhere else in the world, anywhere there's an internet connection, and you can do it pretty affordably. I think I spent a 7-cent fee today, so the fees were low when I was spending Bitcoin. They're kind of all over the place, from low to like 75 cents to $1, depending. So like I like it when they're about 5 cents. But Bitcoin's not perfect, but it is the world's most successful cryptocurrency, and it is incredible. You should go and learn more about it. When you get a chance, go to bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com. Great place to go and learn the basics about Bitcoin. In fact, we just introduced a new person to Bitcoin today. We had a Bitcoin meetup here in beautiful Keene, New Hampshire, at a local ice cream frozen yogurt shop. And somebody new was there, somebody who was, she'd never had Bitcoin before. So we got her hooked up with a wallet and sent her some Bitcoin. And, it's important to give people this new technology, to help explain it to them. There is a bit of a learning curve, but not much. It's easier now than it's ever been to get involved in Bitcoin. You basically just get a wallet for yourself, and Bitcoin.com will recommend those to you. And they're all free, all the wallets. You download the wallet, you get it installed, and you're ready to get Bitcoin. Maybe you can work for it. Maybe you can buy it. Maybe you can mine it. If you want to learn how to mine it, you can go to pool.bitcoin.com. Let's go back to Tim Preuss from the Preuss podcast at PreussPodcast.com, Preuss. Tim, are you a Bitcoiner, just as an aside?
A little bit. I played around with it a few years ago, and I keep hitting myself every day. I look at the price.
Stop hitting yourself.
Well, I sold it. I sold it when it was about $400 for a Bitcoin, and now I look at it, and I had like 3 or 4 or 5 of them. And it's like, dang it, I could have had like 20 grand right now in Bitcoin. That would have been a really nice, chunk of change to take off the mortgage. So I love Bitcoin. I wish I had stuck with it longer than I had, and now I feel like, gosh, it's too late for me to jump in. But I love the whole idea of decentralized currencies. It's wonderful.
I think most people that are Bitcoiners have one of those coulda, woulda, shoulda sort of things, because I'm still kicking myself for having sold 5 Bitcoin for $35 to Mark Edge, and another 5 Bitcoin for $40 also to Mark Edge back in 2011.
Yeah, I feel like I'm the only person who's not kicking themselves over the whole Bitcoin thing. I actually still think that you can still get it on Bitcoin now. It took credit cards 40 years to get off the ground where they were widely accepted.
Right, but
I don't really
I
see,
had over the course of like 2 months, when Bitcoin was less than $10, I had 11 Bitcoin come and go through my hand very quickly. And if I would have kept on to that, then
it's easy to kick yourself. But
and then if I would have bought more when it was couple dollars.
I mean, if woulda, coulda, shoulda.
Most of the numbers are not like, people wouldn't have made that much. It's not like you wouldn't be a Bitcoin millionaire from a few Bitcoins.
I like your perspective on this, Chris. You're looking at the credit card adoption rate. You say it took 40 years for this to really catch on,
to be widespread.
And we're only in 8-9 years, Bitcoin. So Bitcoin started in 2009. And so I think it's important to keep the perspective on this. We are still at the very beginning. So when somebody looks at the price of a Bitcoin, and it's what, 4,400, 4,500 or something like that?
Somewhere around
US dollars per Bitcoin today. They are going to recoil at that. And one of the reasons why is because, well, it seems so very large. And also it seems like you can't, like the average person can't afford that. It's like, oh, I can't buy a Bitcoin. Well, that's the thing. The average person who's new to Bitcoin does not realize, this is the most, I would say one of the most common objections, is you don't have to buy a whole Bitcoin. You can get, if you got $20 that you can afford to lose, then you can buy $20 worth of Bitcoin and then just hold on to it. And then, next week, your next paycheck or whatever, you get another $20, $40 or something like that. You buy some more Bitcoin. You just hold on to it. And you just keep on week after week after week. This is what Johnny Ray does, our Sunday night co-host, is, over time, he just accumulates more and more and more and just kind of holds on to it.
So let's get back to the discussion about economic protectionism. And I'll try explaining one more time why people in Oklahoma and Ohio and Oregon aren't advocating for, let's put import tariffs on things coming into our state from other states. Again, the U.S. Constitution prohibits that, which means that in order to do that, they would have to get the politicians from Ohio and Oregon and Pennsylvania and California to agree to let them do that.
No, I see what you're saying. But
so if there was some kind of UN treaty forbidding import tariffs, then the U.S. government would have to go and beg Saudi Arabia and Switzerland and Germany to let them add tariffs to their stuff.
I get what you're saying, but it doesn't negate Chris's point, which is to say that the protectionists believe in this idea of nationalism. Well, why don't they also argue to do those things?
Well, because see, one nation under God, it's right there in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Right. It's just the they don't see it that way, Chris. They just see the nation.
The people that say buy local, they also don't take it to mean only buy things made in your neighborhood. They don't mean it take it to mean only buy things made in your city, your town.
It's all arbitrary.
Some will say you should only buy things made in your state. Well, we in Southwest New Hampshire, we're 20 minutes to Vermont, 20 minutes to Massachusetts, but the buy local people would say you shouldn't go to those states because those are different states. You should buy stuff made in New Hampshire. So buy the stuff made in Portsmouth, 2 hours to the east of you instead of 20 minutes to the west or the south.
Tim Preuss is with us and listening patiently as we ramble on here. Go ahead. Your thoughts?
Well, I think it's just like a prime example of the hypocrisy of the right.
Sure.
In that, we're talking about this whole healthcare thing, Obamacare. What do we need to do? We're going to repeal Obamacare, but what are we going to replace it with? And one of the common...
How about nothing?
Well, that would be perfect. But they always talk about we need more competition. We need people to be able to buy insurance across state lines because that's competition. It'll bring prices down. It'll be better for everybody. Well, I'm just like, doesn't that same logic? How about we buy Canadian health insurance? How about we buy Mexican
People want to have
health insurance?
competition
Right.
when it's not their business, right? So if it's their business, then bring all the tariffs and the restrictions and licensing in to protect them from competition. But it's when they're buying other people's products and services, then they're all about bring on the competition. It's hypocrisy.
Is that a legal thing that's preventing them from competing, or is that
preventing who from competing?
Well, insurance companies. I'm just wondering.
Yes,
is it?
Yes.
It's all a legal thing. Okay. Yeah, because I'm just wondering if it was just that's how they
No, it's highly regulated.
Okay, because I would think there might be more expenses in some states than in other states.
Oh, and one more thing on the buy local. If you only buy local stuff, nobody in the United States gets coffee or bananas because those are all imported.
Oh, I've seen bananas in the United States.
Grown?
Yeah, I've seen banana trees down in Florida.
Okay.
Not like fields of them or anything like that, but in somebody's yard. Tim, you want to stand by here?
Of course.
All right, more with Tim Preuss from PreussPodcast.com. We'll continue with more Free Talk Live, and you can join us.
Want revenge on the common housefly? Well, after 10,000 years, someone has finally come up with a better way. The Bug Assault, a miniaturized shotgun, which utilizes ordinary table salt as ammunition. Non-toxic and no batteries required. $39.95 plus shipping and handling. Use discount code GCN and receive 15% off your purchase at bugassault.com. Fire your fly swatter and get your Bug Assault today.
North Korea openly threatens the U.S. and launches a new missile every other week. Their warhead of choice? Electromagnetic pulse. Such an event would cripple the U.S. power grid for years and leave millions in the dark. Are you ready? You can be with a Solarc EMP-hardened solar generator. Solarc works day in and day out to keep your essentials protected. You can have peace of mind knowing your power will be there when you most need it. Visit PortableSolarLLC.com to see EMP testing. That's PortableSolarLLC.com. Energy insurance for your family.
Free Talk Live.
And I still swore to the Commander-in-Chief.
What oath is higher
I'm not going
to
to
you?
stand up and go AWOL because, I don't believe
Well,
in
wait,
what's
nobody
going
said you
on
had to
or
go
whatever.
AWOL. Did you swear 2 oaths, one to the Commander-in-Chief and then one to the Constitution?
You swear one to the Constitution as your Commander-in-Chief is your executive order.
Which part of the oath is the priority? Is it upholding the Constitution? Well, so whatever the Commander-in-Chief says is what goes. It
That
doesn't
sounds like a
matter.
cult of personality to
It
me.
doesn't matter if it's unconstitutional.
This
what the
is a nation
Commander-in-Chief
of
says.
laws, supposedly, I was told, and since the Constitution's the highest law in the land, if the Commander-in-Chief violates that piece of paper, then you should, as a person who swore an oath to that Constitution, go in there and arrest him.
Okay, well, you're making sense.
Yeah, I'm trying.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveatpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. SaveAtPurse.com. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. Dial on in toll free. Join us here. Our number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. And you can Skype in at Skype username lrn.fm. Although if you've got a question or comment for Tim Preuss, who is joining us here from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, PreussPodcast.com is his website. You do have to call in. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom, because we don't do the Skype conferences, so you do have to call for any guest that's ever on Skype. Anyway, with you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
Chris.
And Darryl.
And as I say, Tim Preuss here from PreussPodcast.com. You've got a debate coming up tonight on, what was the channel's name? Stephanie McWilliams? What was her name? Tim?
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's Stephanie McWilliams. It's called Right Millennial, as in like right wing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm slowly bringing her around. She's a nice gal, but just like every once in a while, she's just like, all right, come on. You agree with free markets on some things, but not everything. So we just got to like keep kind of churning at her. And I feel like that's the way a lot of kind of conservatives and Republicans and right wingers are, and that's how I started out as. I started out as like a neocon, George Bush. I mean, I was really young. Then I got into, the talk radio, Rush Limbaugh, Mark Levin. Okay, now I'm a quote unquote conservative. And then I got into a libertarian kind of, field. And then now I'm just like a full-blown freaking anarchist.
Who was the first libertarian? Like who was your gateway drug, if you will, into liberty?
Well, I guess into liberty in general would be Thomas Sowell, although I don't know if anyone would really consider him a libertarian. But Thomas Sowell was definitely the person who kind of got me into economics, which got me into politics. Like I was into economics before I was into politics, which I think gives me a leg up in this debate. And from there, it kind of was Milton Friedman. And then people were talking about this guy Hayek and Henry Hazlitt. And those are kind of the intros to, the Austrians. Read more of Mises. And then, there's this goofy, guy with big glasses and wearing a bow tie, Murray Rothbard. And once I got into Murray Rothbard, then it's just like, all right, it's a sealed deal. And,
no turning back.
Yeah, there's no turning back. Then I'm, following, the teachings of Walter Block and Jeff Tucker and Jeff Berwick, and now I'm just a full-blown nutcase, like all the, I think, rational people out there. We're just, if you take, conservative ideas to their logical conclusion, you would be an anarchist. It's just a lot of people stop short of there, and they're just like, I want government for these things, but not everything. And I like the free market up to a certain point, and then they cut it off. And I say, no, don't cut it off. Keep going, because it will be better for everyone.
It's like the people that say, I'm all for getting rid of the prohibitions on cannabis, but all that other stuff we need to crack down on and ramp up the drug war and death penalty for drug dealers, but not cannabis.
Right. Yeah. It's just like if you're consistent, you'll end up at the anarchist position. That's the way I feel.
So you've got a debate coming up with a protectionist, Leo somebody. It's going to be on the Stephanie McWilliams channel on YouTube.
Is this Stephanie McWilliams the same Stephanie McWilliams that does a show on Home and Garden TV?
Not that I'm aware of. No.
Okay, because I just did a Google search for Stephanie McWilliams, and what pops
like a
up?
Right-wing
right, but
show.
you can have a show on Home and Garden TV and be a right-wing conservative.
I'm sure she's not the only Stephanie McWilliams out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe it's Mac Williams, M-A-C Williams. So maybe that would clear up the search. But either way,
But you've got links on. You said your social media. Is that right?
Yeah, it's all over the Facebook and the Twitter, and Liberty.me has stuff posted on it. So, it's out there. If you want to find it, it's there.
Check out Preusspodcast.com. You got your Facebook, Twitter thing, little icons there at the top right.
And Stephanie also spelled with an F, not a PH. RightMillennial.com appears to be her website.
Okay. Got it. All right, cool, man. Well, any other comments that you want to share with our audience here tonight, Tim?
Not much. I say just, keep doing what you guys are doing. You're fighting a good fight, and I'm happy to be a part of the Liberty Radio Network, and I hope everyone that's tuning into me enjoys what I'm doing as much as I enjoy what you guys are doing.
I had kind of a cool thing happen after you aired our interview, because you had recorded Darryl and I, and then were you on vacation or something like that when you played those, I think?
Yeah, I was
in Japan.
I was in Japan. Oh, Darryl, gosh, we have to talk about porn.
Yes, we do. Tell me about the pixelated porn.
We can talk about that, sure.
Well, it's not pixelated. I mean, it's the weird thing. They sell it in like every convenience store, and Japan has convenience stores on. They're all over the place.
Where were you, in Tokyo?
And I was mostly staying in Yokohama, but I spent a few nights in Tokyo.
Okay.
And the convenience stores are everywhere. In every store, they have just magazine racks filled with porn, and in every one of them, the pussy's blurred out.
Oh, okay. We gotta drop you on that one. I'm sorry. You can't say that word on the radio. Most of the time when we have to hit the dump button, we drop the call, but you're a special guest, so I'm going to let you go on this one. Remember, you're on broadcast radio, so I didn't think I'd have to preface the conversation, but now we do have to be very careful with how we address subjects such as pornography. So if in doubt, leave the word out, and as far as like describing sexual acts, that probably shouldn't happen because broadcast radio has some issues with, let's call it, I think the indecency is one of the words they use, and obscenity. So with that in mind,
their genitals are blurred out.
Much better.
So blurred, not pixeled.
Yes.
Okay.
Correct. And but I mean, their prostitution laws are very different. Certain kinds of prostitution are legal, other ones aren't. Which blew my mind. It's like, okay, certain things are fine, but other things are not. It doesn't really make sense to me, but it's a strange country. It was a hell of a time. If you want to go and drink and just party and have a good time, Japan is totally where it's at. They've got it going on.
Now, I've heard that in certain Asian countries, people from America are treated very, very well. Did you experience any of that? People like saying hello to you on the streets, being super, super nice, more so than you would expect them to, or what was your experience there?
Well, absolutely. I don't think that it was because I was American. I think that's just because of their culture. Their culture is a very polite culture. So, I went to a McDonald's. I went to a McDonald's one time for breakfast, and I just got a breakfast sandwich, and then she actually handed me my tray as opposed to, shouting out your order number and sliding it
shoving
on
it at you.
Yeah, she handed it to me, and then she said arigato, and she bowed to me.
Wow.
I was just like, wow. And then I unwrapped it. It looked like the picture on the overhead menu.
Which is totally different than we all went out to breakfast this morning, and the waitress was like, are y'all from not around here? Why is there a bunch of people in my restaurant?
Well, we did go to a diner, and that's kind of what you expect. She was the diner waitress.
I don't expect waitresses to be grouchy. I expect them to want to actually,
at most places,
people.
that's what you get, but
work for a tip, not be grouchy
diners.
And get mad when I ask for a refill of water where my cup's been sitting empty for 5 minutes.
You shouldn't go to a diner then, because she was a typical diner waitress, and that's exactly what some people are looking for when they go to a diner.
Really?
That's what Will Coley, the Muslims for Liberty, Will Coley, he gave her a huge tip because he was so happy.
Wow.
and isn't there a dinner? Okay, so I don't know the name of this place, but isn't there a
Dick's Last Resort.
chain? Is this the chain where they insult you?
Yes, and if it's your first time, they make you wear a funny hat with an insult written on it.
What was it called? Dick's Last Resort?
Yes. And then the wait staff will come and knock your hat off, and you've got to put it back on. Otherwise, they'll stand there and berate you.
Tim Preuss from the Preuss podcast. So I was going to say, one thing that happened after I was on your show was somebody sent me a message on Facebook saying, I heard you on the Tim Preuss podcast, and I live in Keene, and he's a Free State Project participant, and apparently he's never come out once to anything that anybody's ever done here. He might not have even known we were here, so we may end up getting a new real-life libertarian out of just that appearance. So, yeah, it worked out real well. PreussPodcast.com. It's Preuss podcast.com. Thanks for calling in here tonight, Tim, and good luck with your debate tonight.
Thank you for having me, guys. Have a great night.
Thanks, dude. All right, more coming up here. You can take control of the airwaves. You can bring up anything you want now on Free Talk Live. More coming up.
From the second letter of Captain Mark. Any pirate knows that commerce is communication. Markets condense oceans of information into a single price. Innovations in communication are circumventing the scrutiny of the crown. This signals a change in the coin of the realm. The crown uses digital currency to surveil, censor, seize, and destroy wealth at will. So pirate currency must protect us from this weaponized money. We need to move funds further, faster, cheaper, and without third-party observation, basing decisions on an accelerating flow of information. So pirates require nearly instantaneous transactions with no arbitrary limits on volume or artificial influences on fees. Most importantly, a pirate currency must preclude centralization. Otherwise, it will become another link in our chain to the crown. A superior currency will result in the obsolescence of the coin of the realm and the extinction of the crown itself. Trade above the grid. Join us at pirateswithoutborders.com.
Staples has everything you need to keep your office humming for less, so you can run your business with confidence. The confidence that you can afford to replace that old printer that makes more noise than copies. The confidence to generate bold new ideas, and the toner to put them on paper. The confidence to print a proposal that looks as crisp as your suit. Everything your business needs for less at Staples. And now buy 2 reams of Staples brand paper and get 1 free. Staples. It's pro time. Select SKUs. In-store only. Plus tax where applicable. Expires 10/7/17.
Geico presents a voicemail from your friend, Lightning.
Hey, bud, Joe Pal Lightning. I was just hanging out in the old Cloudaroo here. Thought I'd give you a call. I hope you're still not sore about that time I deep fried your big screen TV with that bolt. Yeah, I've been meaning to pay you back for that one, for sure. A little short on cash at the moment, but any day now. Yep. Well, anywho, talk later.
Lightning won't pay for the damage it causes. Luckily, the Geico Insurance Agency makes getting coverage a snap. Visit geico.com to see how affordable renter's insurance can be.
Hi, I'm Derek J. I don't want a politician to represent me. To me, government is the idea that one group of people can coerce everyone to comply with an edict or face increasing punishments up to and including death. Despite perhaps the most noble of intentions, the best government services are a far cry from what could be provided for by voluntary interactions. Besides, the people who call themselves the government wage wars and put peaceful people in jail for crimes involving no victims. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com. DVD, books, music, instruments, periodicals, computers, software, electronics, photo, cell phones, office products, home and garden, bed and bath, furniture, kitchen, pet supplies, automotive, hardware, apparel, shoes, jewelry, grocery, healthcare, sports and outdoors, toys, games, used, and more. It's a department store at your fingertips. Shop.freetalklive.com. Get all your shopping done, get a great deal, and a portion of your purchase goes to benefit Free Talk Live when you enter Amazon via shop.freetalklive.com.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in Liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com. If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
Exit.com.
This is Free Talk Live. You can dial in toll free. You can bring up whatever you want. Our number here is 855-450, free like freedom, 855-450-3733. If you want to help build a better financial system for everyone, check out Dash. It's digital cash, a digital money platform designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast, it can be private and easy, fees are low, and transactions are quick, and can even be confirmed instantly. You can pay anyone, anywhere in the world, anytime for just pennies on the dollar. Dash is decentralized and run by users who earn rewards for helping run the network and make governance decisions. Anyone can invest in Dash and earn rewards for helping run the Dash network. So join Dash and help create a better financial system for everyone. Take back control over your financial future today. Find out more at dash.org. There's a lot of momentum behind Dash right now. Go to dash.org and you'll find out why. As we go to your calls and thoughts, it's Ian, Chris, and Darryl in the studio as we talk to Dave Ridley. He's on Skype. Hello, Dave.
Hey, guys.
Hey there.
I wanted to, I guess as the guy who sort of runs nhexit.com, I would like to put out a request for a call flood to the Spanish consulates and embassies in the United States.
Where would one find the information for that?
Just Google Spanish consulate U.S. and you'll get a list of 3 locations that are in states that do not have two-party consent. So you can record the call, basically. And I called all 3 today myself and recorded the calls. I did inform them that I was recording, but basically I just called mainly for the purpose of asking each person who answered the phone if they should be working for the Spanish government when the Spanish government's not letting people vote.
You're talking about the secession. They did vote, but it was...
Right. The Spanish government says there was no vote.
Right.
Those people whose heads we cracked in, they were just walking around trying to do something illegal. Nobody voted. There were no ballots.
Well, the Spanish...
Because, see, we seized all of the ballots.
They tried. They seized millions of ballots. We're referring to the Spanish secessionist vote that... the Catalonian, I should say. Secessionist vote that happened on Sunday. And the police, the Spanish police, came in from all across the country. They came in they actually floated them in on cruise ships that they had rented with Looney Tunes characters on the sides of them, which was an added level of ridiculousness to all of this. And then Warner Brothers objected, and so the cruise line started trying to cover up the Looney Tunes characters with big cloths that they were like draping down from, the upper levels of the ship. I mean, it was just a crazy sight.
Yeah.
But then, like you said, the violence began that night, Saturday night, and then going into Sunday morning.
Well, no, the violence began before Saturday when they went in and were seizing equipment and seizing ballots.
But I meant the actual, throwing protesters around, attacking people, drop-kicking people off
the violence
stairs.
against would-be voters.
Yeah.
But there was violence against Catalonian bureaucrats that had ballots several days before the election.
And they threatened to arrest any mayors or any Catalan government officials who
allowed
participated.
the vote to happen.
Yeah. So, Dave, I take it you've been following the Catalonian situation pretty closely?
No, I haven't.
Oh.
I think that I don't really need to know a great deal about any independence movement to know that it's right. I don't care where it was. I don't.
Well,
care
but
if
it's interesting. I mean, I get what you're saying. You support independence even if it's the socialists who want their independence, and they do. That's what you're getting at in Catalonia,
right?
But it's really actually an interesting story to follow and read
because
about.
Let's contrast this with the Kurdish independence vote that happened the week prior, to where the Iraqi central government just said, we're not going to recognize the results, but they never tried to suppress voter turnout. In Catalonia, the Spanish government was actively suppressing voter turnout and then turned around and said, only 42% of the people showed up. It doesn't matter that over 90% voted yes for independence.
Mm-hmm.
Voter turnout was only 42%. That's an illegitimate election. But yet, 2 days later in Keene, New Hampshire, we had a municipal election where voter turnout was 5%, and I'm the only person that I know of saying that's an equally invalid election because voter turnout was so damn low.
Yeah, even in the case of Kazakhstan, where the government, has been boiling people alive in some cases, even they deserve independence because no one should be ruled from outside. Croatia, same story. Well, not quite as bad, but they committed what was arguably genocide as part of their independence drive, but yet they still deserve independence because no one, I don't care what has been going on in any region, no one should have the right to govern it from outside. So the other thing is that if you think about it, historically in the New Hampshire freedom movement, I've always thought that we should focus like a laser on New Hampshire, don't get involved in everything else. But the independence thing is really rising, and I think we can hit two birds with one stone. As NH independence advocates, by there's not that much for us to do about NH independence this week. But Catalonia, we can do something about, and next week maybe it'll be Kurdistan. Maybe that will really blow up in the news. And I think we should maybe use these independence movements as an opportunity to grow our own freedom in New Hampshire, just by being active in support of all these different independence movements.
I'm interested in finding out. Maybe somebody at some point can commission a study to find out what New Hampshireites think about declaring independence, because I have seen a lot of case studies where I've been out handing out flyers to people, and obviously you're going to get what you get when you hand out flyers. True. Which is to say you might get people who are more interested simply because they're more open-minded, they're more willing to take a flyer. But the general response I've gotten from people from New Hampshire has been very, very positive towards the idea of declaring independence from the United States.
And as with all studies, it depends on how you ask the question.
No doubt about it. No doubt. But I would rather have that done at all, any kind of study, because there was that one study that broke down the different regions of the country by who supported secession, and New England was the weakest of the rest of the country. But I suspect that New Hampshire would buck the New England trend, as it so often does.
True.
Well, the union leader did a poll in, July, roughly, or August of 2016.
An internet poll.
That's
completely non-scientific because respondents select themselves.
As to whether New Hampshire should be independent or not, and the result was 42% voting in favor of independence.
And that's with a bunch of independence people likely stacking as much votes in favor of independence as they possibly could. So, actually, hiring somebody to do a scientific survey would, I think, be very, very interesting.
Yeah. There is a group, YouGov. I actually get emails from them occasionally because I've signed up to, I want to take part in your studies. And I know that they have things to where you can, commission them to do studies and then, select people out based on certain criteria.
And they're using internet only or phone call?
I only know of them using internet, but they might also do phone call. I don't know.
So, Dave, where can we go from here? I mean, because obviously there's a huge difference between Catalonia and any state in the United States, let alone New Hampshire. I mean, we do have some tiny little secessionist movements, Texas, California, New Hampshire. Definitely New Hampshire smaller than Texas and California's movements, but we don't have as many people here either. How can we ramp this up to the level of where people are so upset at the federal government that they want to get out in the streets like the tens of thousands of people in Catalonia had done within recent weeks?
One idea I had that I have not done anything about yet, and maybe I won't, so maybe someone else should. We could do something like, I think this will get a lot of press, maybe like a burning of the Spanish president's picture in effigy or something like that in front of an appropriate place in New Hampshire called the media or something like that. That would be one brainstorm that I had.
That's not a bad idea.
I tried to focus on what I could do today, and to get those calls made. I can't do everything.
Now, I did find a list of the embassies and the Spanish embassies and consulates in the United States. And just want to point out that if you are going to call, don't do so on Monday because they're closed on Monday because of observance of Columbus Day and the Catalan...
the Spanish oppressor.
Well, the Catalan government is planning to make their declaration of independence on Monday, where all the offices in the U.S. are closed, and then I'm guessing they're also closed on weekends because that's how government operates.
Dave, thanks for your call tonight.
Great idea, but I think a little too late here.
Hey, thanks for the call tonight, Dave. I appreciate it anyway. I appreciate the continued updates from NH Exit, and we'll look forward to hearing from you again.
Still a better idea than what I had because I didn't have any.
There's more coming up at 8:55, 450 free like freedom, 855-450-3733. Plus, we've got an update on Catalan secession coming up.
Do you trust our economy? How about our banking system? Our president has stated we are sitting on a bubble right now, and that when the Fed raises interest rates, bad things are going to happen. Well, the Fed is raising rates here and now. There has never been a better time to turn your IRA or 401k into physical gold or silver with GSI Exchange. Call 833-GSI-GOLD. GSI Exchange can make this happen fast, and it's money you control, not the big banks. 833-GSI-GOLD. Ask about our bank failure survival guide and learn how your qualified IRA transfer can get you $1,500 in free physical gold or silver delivered right to your home. GSI Exchange has an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Call GSI Exchange at 833-GSI-GOLD. That's 833-474-4653. Or visit us on the web at gsi.gold.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Friday, October 6th, 2017. Silver is trading at $16.63 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,269 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 4.3 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $4,328. Antiwar.com reports the Red Cross delegation in Syria has issued a new statement warning that escalating violence in eastern Syria is leading both to a harrowing spike in civilian deaths and a soaring number of displaced persons for aid groups to try to contend with. Aid workers likened the current level of violence to that in Aleppo in early 2016 when the Syrian military was trying to siege the major northern city and expel al-Qaeda's Nusra Front. The Syrian government is not driving this latest escalation, however. This time, it's the United States and, to a lesser extent, Russia, who in the course of competing anti-the Islamic State operations are dramatically increasing airstrikes. Those strikes have particularly been in densely populated cities like U.S. strikes in Raqqa, putting locals at serious risk. Making matters worse, the airstrikes around Raqqa and Deir ez-Zor have hit at least 10 hospitals in the last 10 days. The Red Cross warned that attacks on hospitals and infrastructure are making caring for the civilian population even harder. Born into a devastating world and raised among the crowd, the Cloudwalker assumes a new identity and begins the unrelenting quest for truth. Through the journal of the Cloudwalker, he shares both the traumatic hardships and the eternal beauties of his experiences. Dear Society by the Cloudwalker is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. UPI reports Virginia Governor Terry McAuliffe announced Thursday that Facebook will build a $1 billion data center just outside Richmond, the state's capital. The center, planned to be built in eastern Henrico County, will involve $750 million in construction and $250 million for solar power infrastructure to power the project. McAuliffe said, working with companies like Facebook and many others, we are advancing Virginia's position as a global leader in the technology economy. Local media reported that the Virginia Economic Development Partnership will give Facebook $19 million in tax exemptions, and the project is expected to create 100 full-time jobs in addition to the more than 2,400 temporary construction jobs. Richmond-based Dominion Resources was awarded the $250 million contract to construct the solar facility. Bobby Hollis, director of global energy at Facebook, said, "We came together with Dominion Energy Virginia to create a new tariff that ensures renewable energy solutions are accessible not just to Facebook, but other companies as well." The data center announcement comes soon after the Henrico County Board of Supervisors cut the tax rate for computers and equipment related to data centers by 90%, slashing the rate from $3.50 per $100 to 40 cents per $100. Facebook currently has 3 data centers across the country in Oregon, North Carolina, and Iowa. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. And as a Bitcoin-preferred business, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports a bill to make California a sanctuary state by preventing police from inquiring about immigration status and curtailing law enforcement cooperation with immigration officers was signed into law by Governor Jerry Brown on Thursday. The signing of the bill enacts on a statewide level protections for undocumented immigrants that exist in several cities, including Chicago and New York. Illinois approved a similar measure earlier this year. The enhanced protections for undocumented immigrants by California, the nation's most populous state, sets the stage for a political battle with President Donald Trump, who has made cracking down on undocumented immigration one of his main priorities. Senate Bill 54, which California lawmakers approved last month, bars local governments from forcing undocumented immigrants to spend extra time in jail so that immigration agents can pick them up for deportation. It also prohibits police from asking about the immigration status of people during routine interactions. Brown said in a statement, "These are uncertain times for undocumented Californians and their families, and this bill strikes a balance that will protect public safety while bringing a measure of comfort to those families who are now living in fear every day." The new law takes effect in January. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
After logging onto the Xbox One game console at one of his classmates' homes, 12-year-old Michael Cutler admitted to reporters this week that he really does not have the slightest clue about what his friend's name could be.
I mean, his name might be Brian. No, wait, Brian's my other friend, the one with the PS4. Yeah, if I'm being totally honest, there's no way I can tell you his name. Not a chance.
Noting that the boy had, quote, an absolutely huge HD TV and a bunch of games his mom won't let him play, Cutler confirmed that he could recall only the faintest details about his friend, including the fact that his mother makes chocolate chip cookies and that he has a dog of some kind.
He's got Killer Instinct, Assassin's Creed, Battlefield 4, and Titanfall? Man, that game's awesome. Anyway, I've just been calling him Flamethrower because that's his gamer tag. Hopefully he doesn't catch on. Hey, can I stick around for a few more hours? I'm so close to beating this.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
Free Talk Live. You dial toll free, take control of the airwaves, bring up anything that you want. We're launching into the second hour of the program. Of course, you can bring up anything. That's kind of the point here on Free Talk Live, although we always bring stuff in that we wanted to discuss that you might find interesting. And one of the subjects that, Darryl, I know that you and I both find very interesting is secession.
Yes.
And Chris Wade is with us also from thinkpenguin.com. You're a big secession guy too, right? Like you came out to some of the NH Exit events last year, if I'm recalling correctly.
Yeah. A few of them, I think.
I don't know if have we done any this year? I don't remember.
I don't know about this year, but I definitely last year. I think it was mostly in the winter.
Think so.
Once in the winter and once in the spring.
I know we did one July 4th last summer, not this past summer, but 2016.
Well, I did an outreach thing on the 3rd of July at the local baseball game that they have on Independence Day.
Yeah. You
So I
and
did hand
Matt
out flyers.
wound up passing stuff out. I was preparing for a half marathon.
Right. That's right. You met us afterwards. And so that went well, but we need to get first of all, we need to get more libertarians to move to New Hampshire.
Oh, yeah.
Secondly, we need to get more libertarians who support secession to start doing things about that. And what I'd really like to see happen, I think that something that could really kind of spark, I don't know if it's going to spark a flame or anything like that, but it could at the very least spark some discussion, would be if you actually had a state representative put forth some kind of secession bill. The problem is most of this, we have some libertarian state reps here. Libertarians have run as Republicans and Democrats, and they've gotten elected here, and then 3 of them actually flipped from Republican and Democrat to Libertarian within this last year. So New Hampshire actually has, unlike every other state representatives who are actual Libertarian Party members. But many politicians are afraid to touch this issue. Now, I can't say I've talked to every single one of them about this issue, but when I talk to some of the Liberty reps about, well, why don't you put in a bill to end the entire war on drugs? Why don't you put
political capital?
Yeah. Why don't you put in a bill that a libertarian you would expect from a libertarian? Not this tiptoeing around the edges, let's legalize marijuana. No, the full-on end the war on drugs. Why not just put that forward? We know it's not going to work, right? I get that. It's the first time that something like that would have ever been proposed. Obviously, It's not going to pass. It has no chance of passing. But it would get a conversation started. It would force the people who are in favor of the war on drugs, or in this case, secession, it would force the people who are in favor of the status quo to come defend the status quo, because in New Hampshire, every single bill, and every year there's 800 plus of these things.
Yes.
Every single bill has to get a public hearing. And we've been to a lot of these hearings and gone and testified on them, but there's never been a proposal to have New Hampshire take a walk from the United States. And I think that, yes, obviously it wouldn't go anywhere. It's not going to pass the State House, likely on its first try. But at the very least, then you're going to have the advocates of the status quo come out and defend it. Put them on the defensive instead of the liberty community, because we'll come out and defend freedom. That's no problem. Freedom's under attack all the time.
Right.
I mean, there's 800 bills. Probably at least half of them are gonna, or more than half of them. I don't know what you're the one who reads most of them, Darryl. What percentage of those bills are liberty oriented versus how many are trying to destroy freedom?
I don't
It's
know.
a majority. It's probably a supermajority that are trying to destroy freedom. And so you've got libertarian state reps. You've got folks like you, Darryl. You're a lobbyist for libertylobby.info.
Yes.
You're actually a crowd-funded lobbyist. So you go out there, and then Chris, sometimes you and I will go out with some of the other folks from Keene and other people are from around the state. Libertarians will take the day off from work to go
all the time.
And it's costly. I mean,
I do it all the time.
We'd rather be doing productive things, but we know that this is how you've got to stop these bad statist pro-government ideas. And it has worked on some, but not all. Not everything.
Well, it's not going to work every time, but it still works, I think. Regardless whether it works, 10% of the time or 100% of the times, it still works.
But we're the ones coming out to defend freedom. Let's turn the tables. Let's start having these libertarian reps propose some real principled legislation that's gonna wipe entire statutes off the books. Get rid of this crap.
Right.
So we're not quite there yet, and it would take somebody who's a state representative who just doesn't care about their so-called political capital. This is a term that basically is an excuse for not doing the most libertarian thing. And what it means when a politician says, well, I only have so much political capital, what that means is they are constantly having to like back scratch and log roll or whatever. They're having to be there and try to like make deals with these other politicians in order to vote on things or whatever, I guess. I mean, I guess that's just sort of like how politics works.
And let me give an example. And I'm not necessarily, defending the entire concept of I can't introduce this because political capital, but on the other side, you do have state reps that introduce bills that whenever they show up as the prime sponsor, everybody in the committee collectively rolls their eyes.
Right.
Oh, this guy. So there's got to be a fine line between the I'm just going to go with the flow because political capital.
Yeah,
and
but
being
okay, so I'm gonna
that guy.
I get what you're saying. Okay, so I'm gonna give you my counter to that one because we've never really had anybody give that. Like you're giving that as an example, and you're right. That's probably one of the reasons why people don't want to do it.
There's got to be a fine line.
But I think the fine line is those guys are usually kind of crazy. Like they can't put sentences together very effectively. I'm thinking of one guy in particular. There's another guy.
The guy that went to court not too long ago that
he
tried
can put
some
sentences
legal
together.
theories.
There's another guy I was thinking of that's just not very well spoken. And then the legal theories guy, Dick Marple, who really nice guy. I like him personally. He's just too out there as far as like he's
right. And every committee that he goes before, there's the collective eye roll.
They don't want to hear from him. They don't care what he has to say. But he's not arguing for liberty, okay? And he's not taking a principled stand on freedom, right? So I think if somebody who is a state rep could go in there and communicate effectively the ideas of liberty, I think that would be much more valuable than somebody going in and talking about why we don't need what's an example of a good Dick Marple bill?
Something motor vehicles, something automobile, something driving and traveling are different.
Driving or traveling is a right. He wanted to get rid of
vehicle registration for non-commercial vehicles because automobile and vehicle and something.
Right, you can't drive. You have a right to travel, but you don't have a right to do commercial travel, is what he would say.
Yeah.
It's just this sort of obtuse, difficult.
And then he went on for like 15 minutes on something totally unrelated to the bill.
So somebody could get up there, because we've got enough people who are good communicators, I think, in the state legislature, and just advocate to end the insane war on drugs. I mean, it's the sane viewpoint. And then you get the guys from Law Enforcement Action Partnership to come up there and back you up on that. So it's not like they would be all alone on these issues like the state reps that you're talking about. But that is the fear, I think, in some of the reps' minds, is that they'll be the next Dick Marple, and they don't want that. But then again, on the other hand, if you are only going to be there for one term, then who cares? Right? Because if you're not worried about going back for the next term.
Right. But at the same time, let's look at this thing that they call decriminalization that finally, after a decade, passed out of the Senate. You saw how long that took. So you need to be there for more than one term to really be effective.
To keep pushing it. Yeah, that's true. But these are ideas. I mean, even if you are not there for another term, somebody else can pick up the torch.
Let's give a really good example. Joe Hannon, former state rep. Dr. Joe Hannon, who even after being unseated as a state rep, still went and championed legislation through because he was able to find somebody to introduce a bill.
Yeah, so I mean, we still have a lot of work to do with more libertarians needing to move here, needing to migrate. We need more people who care about liberty to make the move to New Hampshire. New Hampshire is already the freest of all the 50 states, according to the Freedom in the 50 States study and various other studies. But New Hampshire is a great starting point to create more liberty in our lifetime. If you're interested in learning more about that, check out the 101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire. Go to 101reasonsfilm.com. It's a great little documentary about an hour long that'll lay it all down for you. More Free Talk Live coming up.
Don't do what I did and run out. If it's working, don't quit. Why would you stop? Why undo all the good that's been accomplished?
You've got to feed them right for life.
Dinovite is
Nutrition.
If I ever took Roy off of Dynavite.
No. When I get to about 3/4. When I get down to the bottom of my box of Dynavite. Oh no, I've got a couple more scoops. It's time to place my order. Dynavite.com. DINOVITE.com.
859-428-1000.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynavite for your dog this week.
We'll send you a bottle of Super Omega Fish Oil free.
Packed with omega-3, DHA, and EPA fatty acids.
Super Omega is great for your dog's immune system, healthy skin, and soft, shiny fur.
Try Super Omega Fish Oil.
Free this week at Dynavite.com.
Just feed your dog right. Use Dynavite.
Dynavite for life.
859-428-1000.
859-428-1000.
DINOVITE.com.
I got my Blink home security system delivered right to my door. I downloaded the app and it walked me right through the easy setup. Even with my complicated router system, I was done in like 10 minutes. Now it notifies me whenever something moves in front of the wireless cameras, or I can just check it whenever I want right from my phone. And I got you a deal. Get 3 Blink cams for what the other guys charge you for 1, plus an extra 10% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL.
Dash is digital cash, a digital currency designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast and easy, fees are low, and transactions are confirmed instantly. Pay anyone, anywhere in the world, anytime, for just pennies on the dollar. Dash is the first digital money that's governed by its users. Join Dash and help us build a better financial system for everyone. Find out more at dash.org. That's dash.org.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster, so be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
In Survivor Max 2, School Bites, Max must scavenge through a wasteland swarming with the undead. Desperate to find the medicine he needs, he discovers a community of survivors at his former school. Has he finally found the safe haven he's been looking for, or will he discover that school bites? Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, and read Chapter 1 at survivormax.com.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You can dial toll-free, bring up whatever you want. Our number here, 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We do have Skype, and you can Skype in at Skype username lrn.fm. If you are listening to the show later on via podcast, if you're a radio listener, then one of the ways you can help us is by thanking your local radio station for airing the show. Thanking your local program director if you get the chance to shoot over an email or a phone call. That's one way you can help. If you're a podcast listener, best way to help us out is to, or one of the best ways to help us out is to leave a rating. So if you're downloading the show through, let's say, iTunes, which I think is a horrible platform, but almost everyone uses it. So if you're using iTunes, you can rate us there, as I understand it. You can, I think, leave a star rating and a text review if you would like.
Yes, up to 5 stars. So
Okay.
Dave Meltzer, who's a wrestling reviewer, he's actually broken his own scale by giving some matches more than 5 stars. So Dave, if you're listening, you can't give us 6 stars.
Okay.
You can only give up to 5.
So you can do that, and if you do that, it probably helps other people find the show on those
Yes.
platforms. And
That's what I'm told.
Well, it makes sense. I mean, if somebody's show has been highly reviewed and reviewed well, it seems that the iTunes system will be more likely to share that show in top 10 lists or whatever.
And then, like searching for a keyword, same thing on Amazon. If you go look for certain things, you can have it show by relevance or by rating.
So this helps us. Take a moment, if you've not yet rated the show on whatever platform, maybe Stitcher or wherever it is you're listening, find that rating system and rate us and review if you have the time to review. That's also much appreciated as well, because people read that stuff. You know, they're interested in learning what other people think. The toll-free number here tonight, if you want to join us, is 855-450 free like freedom. So we were talking about independence, the Catalonian independence movement in Spain, probably one of the most exciting and interesting independence movements on the face of the planet right now. I know it's not the only one, so it's just the one we've been paying attention to. If you know of another one that's pretty interesting, you want to share that with us, please.
Iraqi Kurdistan's also fairly interesting because, again, they had their vote the week prior.
Really?
And the Turks and the Syrians and the Iranians, they're not happy about it because, well, all of those countries also have fairly large Kurdish minorities in their own sort of Kurdistans in those countries, and they're afraid that, well, if Iraqi Kurdistan is able to break away from Iraq, then our Kurdistans are going to try breaking away from us, and we don't want that. So the Kurds have said that they're going to work in conjunction with other countries to prevent Kurdistan from actually leaving Iraq. The U.S. government doesn't want that to happen because they've got a vested interest in making sure that Iraq remains stable, whatever that actually means. Basically, well, we drew these lines on the map after World War I, and we need to make sure that these lines don't change.
Where they are. Right.
Even though the lines in Europe have changed a great deal after World War I, the lines in Africa have changed a great deal since World War I.
And everything's okay when lines change.
For the most part.
So, in Madrid, according to Reuters, Catalonia will be moving on Monday to declare independence from Spain after holding a banned referendum, pushing the EU nation toward a rupture that threatens the foundations of its young democracy. Catalan President Charles Puigdemont said he favored mediation to find a way out of the crisis, but that Spain's central government had rejected this. Prime Minister Mariano Rajoy's government... Rajoy government responded by calling on Catalonia to return to the path of law first before any negotiations, meaning you do what we say and then we'd be willing maybe to negotiate with you.
Right. Because, we signed this treaty a long time ago that said that Catalonia is part of Spain, and, it's just there forever, perpetually. You can't break up with me.
Right. And this is a power struggle, all the way here. They're saying you've got to return to the path of law, which is, do what we say, do what our courts say, be completely obedient, and then maybe we'll consider having a chat. No. That's not what you do. You don't subvert yourself for the very group that you're trying to leave. You don't follow their rules.
If your spouse is abusing you, you don't go to mediation before you leave the house and file for divorce.
Right.
You leave the house, file for divorce, and then you just cut off communication.
Which is why I don't think that if we look at the United States and the secession movements that we have here, and they're much smaller and nowhere near as effective as Catalonia, but if we actually were to see a state move towards secession, to see a rise in interest in the people of that state in secession, what I would like to see happen is, instead of begging the government, if there's enough people in a state who are saying, let's get out of this United States thing, I don't think we should be asking the government's permission to leave. I don't think we need to be going and, begging the Washington, D.C. masters to let us go. I think it's a much more strong position, like Catalonia is saying here. We're declaring independence over here. We've taken a vote. The people of New Hampshire, or in this case Catalonia, have said they don't want to be part of this union anymore, so goodbye. just like, we're done. See you later. We're willing to work with you as far as like border checks or whatever would need to be put in place, maybe still allowing the military base or whatever, kind of like, Guantanamo Bay exists next to Cuba, right? So like, doesn't mean that we would have to kick, I'd like to kick the U.S. military out, but that's not necessarily a requirement of secession, I don't think.
Right.
So, we can negotiate some of this other stuff later, but for right now, we're just saying goodbye. We're no longer part of the United States. That, I think, is a much stronger position than going and supplicating yourself to these other states and hoping that 3/4 of them will, amend the Constitution or whatever to allow you to leave.
That's why I'm really interested in the California thing. I know they're calling it Cal-Exit, but that annoys me almost as much as just slapping gate to the end of anything when there's a controversy.
Right.
So, what if there's a controversy about a gate? Is
a
it
gate
then
company.
Gate,
yeah.
Like, bridge gate, this gate, that gate.
So dumb.
So the California, their proposal is let's amend the California state constitution to strike the reference that we're an inseparable part of the United States of America.
Right.
And then there's the question of, well, then what happens? Well, we'll figure it out when it gets there.
Yeah.
Let's see how it happens. First, let's see if they're able to collect the 400,000 signatures they need to get it on their ballot, and let's see what happens.
Yeah, it's a starting point. It's
right.
I think it's very interesting to watch how this is playing out over in Spain, because the back and forth between the two sides has been fascinating, if not scary, because of the violence that's being shown.
Right, and one thing that's interesting, I think you talked about it on Monday or possibly Sunday, where the firemen went to try to protect the voters.
Yep.
And the Spanish police then started attacking the firemen.
Well, yeah, of course. But that is what happened, because the Spanish police are going to do everything possible to put a stop to this, because they see it as a major threat to their legitimacy. And if the firemen are threatening their legitimacy, they're going to put a truncheon to the head of a fireman. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE like freedom, which is terrible to watch. Some of the video of these Spanish cops attacking voters or people attempting to vote was pretty horrifying. But that's what people need to see, unfortunately. Right. It's what's going to wake a lot of people up that this is why we want to leave. More coming up here in moments. This is Free Talk Live.
ProPure water filters. Most trusted, most tested. Right now, you can save 25% on the ProPure Nomad Gravity System. Visit an authorized ProPure dealer for details. That's PROPUR.
Advertising your business with GCN is simple, effective,
and more affordable than you might think.
Visit advertise.gcnlive.com for more info. Take your business to the next level. That's advertise.gcnlive.com.
With nearly 70 years of history engineering bunkers, today, Atlas Survival Shelters is still the authority. Atlas offers 18 different choices, from commercial tornado shelters to underground nuclear fallout shelters, starting at just $99.99 with 100% financing available, comfortable interiors, and state-of-the-art air filtration systems. Atlas Survival Shelters are the most popular private survival shelters in the world. Call 1-855-4BUNKER now or visit atlassurvivalshelters.com.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com.
For years, LRN.FM has had a listen line that you can call and listen to LRN.FM anytime. Now we're taking the idea to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line. You can call 641-793-9660 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed, and you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 641-793-9660 and choose from the menu. 641-793-9660.
Money, power, and respect are all yours at CreditSuccessSecretsRevealed.com. Be seen as an industry leader. You can do it. The last application you filled out when it was time to hit submit, did your nerves spike? You didn't get the approval you seek, but there's a better way. We teach you exactly what to place into the right systems the right way the first time so you get approved. Get up to $100,000 in instant business credit. Many people will get cash on the spot. Use those 2 tools in your new corporate credit engine so you can walk into the bank and get your project funded today. It's all about today at CreditSuccessSecretsRevealed.com. Credit Success Secrets Revealed is explosive and ignites instant results. Dial 1-800-707-8719. That's 1-800-707-8719. 1-800-707-8719. Or just go to CreditSuccessSecretsRevealed.com.
You can connect with the Liberty Radio Network via our Facebook page at facebook.lrn.fm. That's facebook.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. You dial toll free, you bring up what you want. Our number here is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. The Catalan folks over in Catalonia, Spain, looking to secede from the Spanish government. They had a historic vote on Sunday where 90% of the voters who turned out voted in favor of secession.
Right.
And joining you in the studio here tonight, by the way, on Free Talk Live, you've got Ian,
Chris,
and Darryl.
Don't forget, you can join us online. Just head over to freetalklive.com, and you can watch us on YouTube, the webcam. You go to cam.freetalklive.com while we're live from 7 to 10 at night Eastern Time, 7 nights a week, and you can watch us live. Or you can just go to youtube.freetalklive.com. It'll take you right to our YouTube channel, where you can watch later on at your leisure, whenever you want, and it's all free. So cam.freetalklive.com or youtube.freetalklive.com. So more here from Reuters about the Catalonians planning to leave on Monday to declare their independence from Spain after this historic vote, which, as you pointed out, Monday is apparently Columbus Day.
In the U.S.
In the U.S., but Columbus was from, I believe, dispatched from Spain.
Dispatched from Spain, originally from Italy.
So, Mireia Boya, a Catalan lawmaker from the pro-independence Popular Unity Candidacy, or CUP party, said a declaration of independence would follow a parliamentary session on Monday to evaluate the results of the October 1st vote to break away. She said on Twitter, quote, "We know there may be disbarments, arrests, but we are prepared, and in no case will it be stopped."
So, let's give a little bit of background here of why she was saying, it's not going to be stopped. Because it was announced that, the next session of the Catalan parliament is Monday. The Spanish central government then went to the Spanish courts to wind up getting a decision, and the Spanish courts said that it would be illegal for the Catalan parliament to have a vote.
You mean the same Spanish courts that decided that the vote itself on Sunday of the people was also an illegal vote?
That there was no vote, according to Mariano Rajoy. Well, there was no vote because, we took all of the ballots and the ballot boxes, and they closed down ballots. A bunch of... Right. And see, those were privately printed ballots, not government printed, so therefore invalid. All of it was invalid, according to the Spanish central government.
Yeah, and they basically called the people who are doing it, the organizers, treason. I mean, they called them treasonous.
Right. The Guardian reports the court warned that any session carried out in defiance of the ban would be null, and that Parliament's leaders would face criminal charges if they ignore the court order.
Null is a legal term that basically, you create a nullity. It's something that doesn't exist legally,
right?
Is the way they are seeing it. So even though they're going to meet on Monday, this woman says that it in no case will be stopped. Their plan to meet and declare independence.
Now, see, the court said that it didn't happen, so therefore it doesn't matter. You can meet, but then that's an unlawful gathering because, see, we have this rule on unlawful assemblies,
right?
And you didn't get our permission,
right? Our words on paper over here say things different than what you say, so therefore we win because we've got more men with guns.
Carme Forcadell, the president of the Catalan parliament, said Monday's session had not yet been formally convened, but that the court's decision to suspend it, quote, harms freedom of expression and the right of initiative of members of the parliament and shows once more how the courts are being used to solve political problems. The Catalan government is understood to be meeting to discuss its response to the latest move by the court. It has previously ignored the Constitutional Court's rulings, not least its order to suspend the referendum itself. In a television address on Wednesday, the Catalan president, Carlos Puigdemont, repeated his calls for mediation and dialogue with the Spanish government, but said the results of the vote would be put before the parliament. Quote, on Sunday we had a referendum under the most difficult circumstances and set an example of who we are. Peace and accord is part of who we are. We have to apply the results of the referendum. We have to present the results of the referendum to the parliament. Speaking ahead of Thursday's court decision, the Spanish Prime Minister, Mariano Rajoy, said the situation would only escalate further if the Catalan government carried on the path of a unilateral declaration.
Now, who said this?
Mariano Rajoy, he's Spanish Prime Minister.
Right, so he's doing the bidding of the Spanish government.
Right, he's the guy that said something to the effect of, we didn't want to send in the police, but they made us do this. They made us. You defied our court order. You are making. I'm not doing this of my own free will. You are making me.
And they say this on a. I've heard this in the courts here in New Hampshire.
I've heard local police. I don't want to arrest you, but you're making me do this.
Same thing's true. Like the cops, when they arrested you this year, Chris, earlier this year for crossing the street. They could say, well, you made us do that by you going out into the street. We had to arrest you. It was all your fault of what we did to you. And so they never take responsibility for their own actions. They act as though when they're enforcing their precious statutes or ordinances or laws or what they believe their interpretation of them is, whether they're correct or not, they act as though that is something. They're not doing it to you. You're doing it to yourself because you voted for this.
Or, well, you live here. It doesn't matter if you voted or not. You live here, and because then it's implied consent because you don't social contract.
Yeah.
You're still within the reach of my baton, so therefore you're consenting to me assaulting you. Rajoy continued by saying, "Is there a solution? Yes, there is. And the best would be a return to legality and the swiftest possible confirmation that there won't be unilateral independence declared, because that way, still greater harm could be avoided."
Meaning greater harm to the innocent people of Catalonia who might still want to secede, especially after being already beaten by the Spanish government. He's talking about hurting even more people.
And something that's very interesting here, and I'm glad The Guardian points this out. The Spanish central government has refused to rule out invoking Article 155 of the Spanish Constitution.
And what's that?
The article that's never actually been used, but makes provision for the central government to take control of an autonomous region
which
if it
Catalonia
does
is,
not
Catalonia.
fulfill the obligations imposed upon it by the Constitution or other laws or other acts in a way that is seriously prejudicial to the general interest of Spain. So Mariano Rajoy is saying, no, you're in violation of all these things. Well, invoke Article 155 and just go crack skulls even further.
That's what he's going to do.
Right now, he's just cracking skulls. He's not even invoking the rule that allows him to crack skulls.
It just goes to show that it doesn't matter whether they don't follow their own rules. But what you're saying is the 155 would allow them to do more than crack skulls. It would allow them to literally take over the governing region of Catalonia, which is supposed to be so-called autonomous or an autonomous region in Spain. So maybe that's what his next threat is going to be here. He's saying, well, we don't want to keep harming you, so you better get back in line or else we're going to have to keep hurting you.
Was there a violent some sort of violent revolution where people had guns in the past?
There've been
Spain with the I can't recall whether it was Spain or some other.
Didn't they overthrow their other dictator guy, Francisco Franco? What happened with
in the 70s? I don't remember the details, but he was thrown out and then they reconstituted in 1978. So in the grand scheme of how old countries
they're a
are,
very new government.
And there's a really interesting YouTube video of what's the oldest country, and they point out, well, it really depends on how you define country. Is it based on when the Constitution was adopted? Is it based on this thing, this other thing? So the answer is anything from Egypt being several thousand years old to China being a few thousand years old to San Marino that has had the same form of governance since like the year 903.
If you want to join us, you can. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. You can take control of the airwaves. Your thoughts, welcome, whether it's on Spanish independence or Catalonian independence, I suppose I should say. You can join us here. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733, and this is Free Talk Live. Have you wanted to get into Bitcoin mining but don't want to deal with the hassle and frustration of operating the mining hardware? Let pool.bitcoin.com handle it for you like I did. Just visit pool.bitcoin.com and use their calculator to estimate what you could end up making. You get to decide which Bitcoin you want to mine. If you already have mining equipment, you're invited to join pool.bitcoin.com. Get all the details and get started mining Bitcoin at pool.bitcoin.com.
This is Ed Lukasevic.
And Cindy Lukasevic at Dinovite.
This year, whenever you order a 90-day supply of Dinovite for your dog, we'll send you a free sample of one of the other doggy things we make.
Like Liquid Chops, Super Mega Fish Oil, or Doggo Suds Shampoo.
What's on your dog's wish list?
We'll offer a different freebie each week at Dinovite.com.
Don't you just love the sound of healthy, happy dogs?
Dinovite is nutrition.
Dinovite for life.
DINOVITE.com.
You've heard the phrase, you are what you eat? Not true. Actually, you are what you can absorb. So if the vitamins and supplements you now take are not being absorbed, what good are they? Introducing Protovite, proprietary liquid system that allows premium quality nutrients to positively affect the blood in an astonishing 5 minutes. Watch our amazing 2-minute live blood cell video at TrueHealthFacts.com. That's TrueHealthFacts.com. Then call 502-410-3411. Protovite is nutrition you can feel. Protovite is nutrition that gets in.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Understanding your credit score is the first step towards managing and improving it. This is Charlie Sundstrom with your Van Dyke Mortgage Minute. The most influential component of your credit score is your payment history. Almost equally as important is the amount you owe on credit accounts. Also impacting your score, but to a lesser degree, are the length of time you've utilized your credit, the number of new accounts, credit inquiries, and your various types of credit accounts. To help achieve or maintain a healthy credit score, have a system set up to assure your bills are always paid on time. Don't max out your cards. It's better to have a high credit limit with a low balance. Never close old accounts. The age of these can actually help your credit score. But don't be afraid to use your credit. You need several accounts in order to have a credit score. Just keep the corresponding payments within your means. For your mortgage pre-approval and refi needs, start by visiting VanDykeMortgage.com.
Corporate NMLS 3035. Van Dyke Mortgage is an equal housing lender. Charlie Sundstrom, NMLS 134251.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1. Share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2. Buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3. Give $5 a month to the AMP program. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same prices with free Super Saver shipping by going to shop.freetalklive.com. Please do your online shopping at shop.freetalklive.com.
Ross Ulbricht was convicted in early 2015 of running the infamous Silk Road Underground Market. The Silk Road was a gift to humanity and helped reduce the harms brought on by drug prohibition. For this good deed, Ross has been sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole. Now, an appeal is Ross's only chance, and he needs your support. Please visit freeross.org, where you can contribute via various methods, including Bitcoin. Visit freeross.org. That's freeross.org.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You may dial toll-free, take control of the airwaves, bring up whatever you want. Our number is 855-450, free like freedom, 855-450-3733. Spanish courts attempting to block the Catalan parliament from declaring independence, and it sounds like they're willing to move in troops into the parliament based on what has been suggested here. There's a special provision in the Spanish Constitution that allows the Spanish government to literally just go in and seize any kind of area of the country that is seen as possibly going against the grain, so to speak here.
Right. That's Article 155, and Spanish Prime Minister Mariano Rajoy has not ruled out invoking it, but they've not actually revoked it. They've just gone in and, cracked heads.
And did you see the post? I don't know, there was a post from Wikipedia, WikiLeaks. Post from WikiLeaks is Julian Assange pointing out the ominous painting that was behind the Spanish. I guess they've got a king over there. I didn't even know that until this last week, but King Felipe or King Philip VI, I think it is, or fourth. Anyway, there's been a few Philips apparently over in Spain. And this guy got on television and started to talk trash to the Catalans and basically, said that this is illegal, so on and so forth. King Philip branded Sunday's referendum in the northeastern Spanish region illegal and undemocratic. And while he was speaking, he was standing in front of a painting with some guy holding a truncheon behind him, which, of course, is the police in Spain are more than happy to use against the independence activists. In fact, according to the BBC, pro-independence Catalans have defied King Philip VI's warning. Catalan President Carles Puigdemont told the BBC he would declare independence at the end of this week or the beginning of next. Now we know they're planning to do it on Monday. The European Union said it was, quote, time to talk, unquote, to find a solution to the crisis in Catalonia. No, it seems to me that the time for talking is well beyond gone at this point. These people are fed up to the brim. They've had enough of the Spanish federal government, and I don't blame them for not wanting to sit down and have a chat or go through mediation.
Right.
And as one of their leaders pointed out, this Puigdemont guy, as he pointed out, the Spanish people did not want to sit down and talk. They'd offered previously to sit down and talk, to negotiate something, but they weren't interested in that because the Spanish federal government believes they are fully within their legal rights to keep this group, the Catalan region, to keep them within Spain, and they're just not budging on that position.
Right.
even if it's hurting their legitimacy. And it sure is when they go around hurting peaceful people and like literally attacking voters, pulling them by their hair, throwing them around, drop kicking them off of stairwells. I mean, it's just a crazy situation that happened on Sunday when these folks were trying to vote, which absolutely damaged the already damaged reputation of the Spanish federal government.
Right.
Commission Vice President Franz Timmermans said the Spanish Constitution must be followed. Mr. Timmermans, addressing European Parliament, described the images of violence from Catalonia as saddening, but he emphasized the importance in upholding the rule of law.
And in an interview with German newspaper Bild, Puigdemont said that he has not discounted the possibility that he could be arrested,
no doubt,
but says he's not afraid. Quote, I'm not surprised anymore about what the Spanish government is doing. My arrest is also possible, which would be a barbaric step.
And that's exactly what you would expect from these people at this point. So kudos to him for showing a level of commitment that you just don't see out of politicians, right? Politicians are known for having no spine. They're known for being incredibly cowardly, and they're known for, just trying to, punish their friends or punish their enemies and help their friends with other people's money. Yeah. And so when a politician like this actually comes out and says, I'm willing to put my own freedom on the line here, that I hope will inspire others to join him, others in the political ranks to join him, because once the government has gone past a certain point of no return with its violence, with its oppression, then at some point you really don't have that much to lose. Right. I mean, these people are willing to do anything at all to you, and unless you want to leave and cut out and run and go to some other land and live as quietly as you can, in some other country, and just kind of live out the rest of your life, if you're willing to stand up for something, then you have to be willing to be cut down. You
Right.
have to be willing to pay the ultimate price for what you believe in. Now, I'm not saying that you have to do that. Like I said, you can always go and run. But if you are, truly committed to an idea, then you got to put everything you have behind that. And you have to realize that at any time they can hurt you. They can at any time destroy your life. They can at any time come into your home, kill your dog, kill your family members. They can do horrifying things to you, and in many cases they will do those things in order to protect their perception of legitimacy, which of course only damages their legitimacy ultimately. But the thing is, the government's damaged both ways. It's just the question is, in which way are they damaged less? Are they damaged more by not doing anything and looking impotent? Because there are some people out there who be like, well, how come the Spanish government isn't standing up against these people? They're trying to leave. They're flouting the law. They're just ignoring the rule of law. There's people out there watching the Spanish government who, let's call them loyalists, who are with the Spanish government, and they want to see heads cracked.
Right. It's like the Americans that blame James Buchanan for the Civil War happening, even though James Buchanan is not the one that sent federal troops into the seceding states. It was Abraham Lincoln that did that. But, because he didn't send in the troops, that's what caused the war to happen. No. That's like, again, blaming non-drivers for drunk drivers causing a car crash. Well, because you weren't on the highway, it's your fault that guy wound up rear-ending somebody.
Right. So whenever the state is faced with a rebellion like this, or they're even if it's just faced with something small like a little act of civil disobedience, or a small group acting in civil disobedience. In the case of Catalonia, we're talking about thousands and thousands of
we're talking about millions. And there's a quote from Puigdemont here. He said he was disappointed by the king's intervention, saying, quote, the king endorses the discourse and policies of the government of Rajoy, which have been catastrophic for Catalonia and deliberately ignoring the millions of Catalans who do not think like them. He added, not like this, your decision yesterday disappointed many people in Catalonia. Of the 5.3 million registered voters in Catalonia, 2.26 million showed up.
Yep.
And some people, again, they point, see, look how small the voter turnout was. That's an illegitimate vote. But yet, if we had 43% voter turnout in a midterm election in the United
That'd
States,
be a decent vote.
they would say, look how high the voter turnout was.
Right.
Hypocrisy. Also there were a lot of people that may have tried to go vote, but because their local polling place had been shut down by the Spanish central government, they didn't know where another polling place was, or maybe they did, but they went to that one and that one was shut down too. So how many
people tried to vote and were
how many
were scared?
people tried to vote?
How many people didn't try because they were scared?
Could not find a polling place. How many
not allowed
people
to vote.
tried and wound up getting their heads cracked in? Because there were hundreds of people that wound up being harmed by Spanish police.
So, according to the story here, Spain's High Court has summoned the head of Catalonia's regional police force to testify as a suspect in an investigation of alleged sedition, inciting rebellion against the state. So, yeah, they're going after the cops in Catalonia. If they're going after the cops, they definitely very well could go after Puigdemont and the other political leaders over there. And there's a lot of risk involved in taking these actions, which is why it's hard to find people to stand up like this. It's why the government really has to push people to the brink of they're so frustrated. They know that if they stay on their current course, things are going to get worse. But they also know that if they alter their course and they go towards secession, and they go towards this drastic solution, that things are going to get worse, maybe even faster than if they just sort of done nothing. But ultimately, if they succeed, the prize of independence is so worth it if they can actually succeed.
There seem to be some parallels between the Catalan independence here and the American independence of 240 years ago.
Let's talk about that coming up. You've got make some notes. Let's get into parallels between American independence, which needs to happen again.
And there are also some differences, like the fact that the colonies of the United States were separated by a big giant ocean.
Good point. Toll-free number tonight, 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. And I suspect that the Spanish government probably has a lot more military might at their disposal than, say, the UK government would have back in the 1700s. More coming up here. It's Free Talk Live.
Are you still looking for that one iodine that you can really trust? A medical doctor-endorsed product that is backed by honest research and true integrative science? Then search no further. Go to NutriMedical.com for Dr. Bill Deagle's Nutriodine, proven time and time again to be the very best iodine available for you. Nutriodine is the only Tesla-activated monatomic plasma iodine in the world. It optimizes mitochondrial function and generation of new mitochondria, from totally neutralizing the venom from a desert recluse spider bite in Southern California to eliminating malaria parasites reported by medical missionaries in central India. Dr. Bill's Nutriodine is simply the most powerful healing formula there is. Nutriodine clears the body of all known pathogens, restores it to an alkaline state, and even promotes stem cell regeneration. Order Dr. Bill's Nutriodine today at 888-212-8871 or visit us online at NutriMedical.com.
So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Friday, October 6th, 2017. Silver is trading at $16.63 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,269 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 4.3 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $4,328. Antiwar.com reports the Red Cross delegation in Syria has issued a new statement warning that escalating violence in eastern Syria is leading both to a harrowing spike in civilian deaths and a soaring number of displaced persons for aid groups to try to contend with. Aid workers likened the current level of violence to that in Aleppo in early 2016 when the Syrian military was trying to siege the major northern city and expel al-Qaeda's Nusra Front. The Syrian government is not driving this latest escalation, however. This time, it's the United States and, to a lesser extent, Russia, who in the course of competing anti-the Islamic State operations are dramatically increasing airstrikes. Those strikes have particularly been in densely populated cities like U.S. strikes in Raqqa, putting locals at serious risk. Making matters worse, the airstrikes around Raqqa and Deir-ez-Zor have hit at least 10 hospitals in the last 10 days. The Red Cross warned that attacks on hospitals and infrastructure are making caring for the civilian population even harder. Born into a devastating world and raised among the crowd, the Cloudwalker assumes a new identity and begins the unrelenting quest for truth. Through the Journal of the Cloudwalker, he shares both the traumatic hardships and the eternal beauties of his experiences. Dear Society by the Cloudwalker is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. UPI reports Virginia Governor Terry McAuliffe announced Thursday that Facebook will build a $1 billion data center just outside Richmond, the state's capital. The center, planned to be built in eastern Henrico County, will involve $750 million in construction and $250 million for solar power infrastructure to power the project. McAuliffe said, working with companies like Facebook and many others, we are advancing Virginia's position as a global leader in the technology economy. Local media reported that the Virginia Economic Development Partnership will give Facebook $19 million in tax exemptions, and the project is expected to create 100 full-time jobs in addition to the more than 2,400 temporary construction jobs. Richmond-based Dominion Resources was awarded the $250 million contract to construct the solar facility. Bobby Hollis, director of global energy at Facebook, said, "We came together with Dominion Energy Virginia to create a new tariff that ensures renewable energy solutions are accessible not just to Facebook, but other companies as well." The data center announcement comes soon after the Henrico County Board of Supervisors cut the tax rate for computers and equipment related to data centers by 90%, slashing the rate from $3.50 per $100 to 40 cents per $100. Facebook currently has 3 data centers across the country in Oregon, North Carolina, and Iowa. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. And as a Bitcoin-preferred business, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports a bill to make California a sanctuary state by preventing police from inquiring about immigration status and curtailing law enforcement cooperation with immigration officers was signed into law by Governor Jerry Brown on Thursday. The signing of the bill enacts on a statewide level protections for undocumented immigrants that exist in several cities, including Chicago and New York. Illinois approved a similar measure earlier this year. The enhanced protections for undocumented immigrants by California, the nation's most populous state, sets the stage for a political battle with President Donald Trump, who has made cracking down on undocumented immigration one of his main priorities. Senate Bill 54, which California lawmakers approved last month, bars local governments from forcing undocumented immigrants to spend extra time in jail so that immigration agents can pick them up for deportation. It also prohibits police from asking about the immigration status of people during routine interactions. Brown said in a statement, "These are uncertain times for undocumented Californians and their families, and this bill strikes a balance that will protect public safety while bringing a measure of comfort to those families who are now living in fear every day." The new law takes effect in January. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
Good morning. Later this afternoon, I will be engaging in an extramarital affair. Of course, I will wish that I had never made the horrible mistake I'm about to spend several hours making, but sadly, I'm currently too blinded by greed and lust to care about or consider the consequences of my actions. The liaison I will be taking part in shortly with two poor deaf teenage runaways is in direct opposition to the values you elected me to uphold. I also wish to apologize to my wife, Linda, to my two beautiful children, Allison and Christopher. It hurts me more than you will ever know that this scandal will impact your life so terribly. I can only pray that the revelations you will soon hear concerning my fetishes, physical flexibility, and penis will not scar you to the point of dementia. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to get to the hotel immediately, so I will not be taking questions. Thank you.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
Free Talk Live. You are invited here to dial in toll-free. Take control of the airwaves. 855-450-FREE. 855-450-3733. Joining you tonight, it's Ian,
Chris,
and Darryl.
Still to come here tonight, I know, Chris, you've got a story about Equifax. You know that company that lost all
143 million
data.
Customer data.
Basically half of the entire U.S.'s population.
Well,
Right.
some of those people were Brits and Canadian.
All right, fair enough.
You've got a story about that. We got to also talk about the Catalonian secession versus the U.S. secession. And we'll get into
I
that.
just had a couple of thoughts on that, so it's not a full-fledged, discussion.
But first,
per
let's go to
se.
the phones, to the fun, where we have Stefan in Ohio. He's on via Skype. Hello, Stefan.
I had a question about the Catalonian secession.
Okay.
You seem to be in support of it. Well,
Oh,
why
yeah.
exactly do you support it?
Because secession. I mean, the
Okay,
idea of
what do you mean
secession
because
is to decentralize power. The idea of secession is to have more independently governing areas of the world. I'm against the idea of the state in general, but I'd rather have 500 little states than 50 mega states, right? So I'd rather see states sort of, I don't know if you want to call it a devolution or an evolution, but
it's a form of devolution.
Yeah, but it's, in my opinion, an evolution because it's a better idea, right? Like we're moving to something better.
You know, if you go through history, you see that there are cycles to where you have smaller states and then they merge into larger states and then break into smaller states, and it's cyclical. Right. And I would love to see a return to like a city-state sort of thing.
Yeah, and nobody is proposing secession on a serious basis from a libertarian perspective, unfortunately. So, I mean, I don't support what ultimately the Catalonian government will likely create, which is some sort of socialist redistribution.
Nor what the Scottish government would have created had they wound up being able to secede, or what the Californians will wind up doing out there if they're successful.
I don't want to go live in Catalonia, but I support their right to do this act.
Which is kind of funny because Spain is already very socialist.
Sure.
So you had said earlier that these people
Are you on a
shouldn't
train?
Or are you on a train track?
Yes, that is a train. I apologize.
Anyway, go ahead.
But you had said before that you were happy they were seceding because they were tired of the Spanish government kicking them around. Is that right?
That's, I'm sure, one major reason why they're basically having their money stolen from them by the Spanish government, and then it's being redistributed in ways that do not benefit the Catalan region in the way that they want it to. And so they would rather have their own autonomy and be able to redistribute their wealth the way they would prefer to, or at least by whatever democratic processes that they prefer.
So why would you support getting away from a socialist government just to start a new socialist government, just for the fact that it's secession?
Correct.
That makes zero sense.
No, it doesn't not make zero sense. Why does it make zero sense?
So hold on. Let me rephrase the question to something that I want a yes or no answer from Stefan on. Stefan, do you support the right of self-determination?
Yes.
Okay, then do you support the right of self-determination for the people of Catalonia?
Not everybody in Catalonia, I am sure, agrees with the secession.
No doubt. Not everybody
Right, and
does.
that's why we need to separate state from geography, but that still does not answer the question of, do you believe the people of Catalonia have a right to self-determination?
Yes, I agree that the individuals in Catalonia have that right, yes.
Right, and all we're saying is we think the people of Catalonia should be able to exercise self-determination. We think the people of South Ossetia should be able to exercise self-determination. The people of Guam, the people of Puerto Rico, the people of the U.S. Virgin Islands, the people of fill-in-the-blank location have the right to exercise self-determination.
If you're a loyalist living in Catalonia, if you're loyal to the Spanish government, nobody in Catalonia is going to stop you from giving money to the Spanish government. I mean, you can keep giving money to the Spanish government hand over fist if it makes you feel good, even after Catalonia has seceded. So Catalonia seceding doesn't mean that the people who love the Spanish government have to ignore the Spanish government.
And not everybody living in the United States, or what became the United States in 1776, supported breaking away from the British Crown.
Right.
That does not mean that the colonists did not have the right of self-determination to decide whether or not they wanted to remain Brits.
Right. Basically, the idea is that the Catalans who wish to leave the Spanish government, they should be free to do that.
Right, and if there's a subgroup within Catalonia that wants to leave Catalonia, they should be able to do that too.
Indeed. And if there's a subgroup who remains loyal to Spain, then they should be able to remain loyal to Spain and spend all the taxes and obey their ordinances and, do whatever they want, punish themselves.
I support the 7.5 billion state solution to where every person winds up being able to decide for themselves how and or if they are governed by someone else.
All right, thanks. But I want to still add one more quick thing.
Sure.
The reason I had brought this up is because I was wondering to myself why it seems like there's so much support from you guys when inevitably they're going to become the same, socialist country. It's basically just going to be they're going to hoard more of their money for themselves. So it's basically still going to be a socialist democracy.
We're not advocating for socialism. We're advocating for the rights of self-determination and the right of secession.
And basically the advocation to establish another socialist state is what I'm getting from that. If you support that,
I can understand why one group of socialists.
Sure, just call me a socialist because I support secession.
No. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying
no, he's saying you support socialism because you support
I'm
secession.
saying you're supporting the establishment of another socialist government.
No, that's not what we're supporting.
I'm advocating the right of self-determination.
But Chris was trying to jump in with a comment here.
Yeah, I mean, just because you don't agree with something doesn't mean you can't see a valid reason for one. Like, for example, you can accept that you don't like socialism and still say, well, I see a reason why one group of socialists wants to split away from another group of socialists.
I don't support smoking crack, but you shouldn't go to jail for doing so.
Right.
So I'm going to, if there's ever legislation in front of the New Hampshire legislature, I'm going to go advocate for removing criminal penalties for crack.
Quebec is a great example of basically
smoking crack.
No, no, it's a great example.
No, that was Toronto's mayor.
Yes, Rob Ford.
A great example of an independence movement that if they separate, it's got, my understanding is they've got resources. So if they separate, they'll be a very, very, very rich nation.
Right. Yes.
So you see a domino effect.
Right. So if you have two groups of socialists, well, maybe Catalonia is a very, I don't know this. I mean, I'm just pulling stuff, but. Catalonia is a very wealthy area, and if they declare independence, they'll be even better off. So, and maybe the rest of Spain isn't as well off, and they're taking money, and so they might have reason, even as within the socialists, to actually have a reason to do this.
Could you see a domino effect, maybe?
Possibly.
Where other
I
areas
could hope so.
Where other areas of Spain end up seceding?
Well, not only other areas of Spain, but then just other secessionist, separatist movements across the world.
Right, yeah. I mean, after the Brexit thing, then we started hearing about Colexit and these other exits, NHexit and Texit, and people started talking about secession again. Oh, Hexit. Yeah, you live in Ohio. So, they get people talking. And I think that's important too. So, ultimately, if a area secedes or if a group of people secede, you have to accept that the then whatever government they end up creating could be worse. Like, we know they're both probably going to be socialist, wealth redistributing governments. It's possible the Catalonian people could put in a regime that's even worse than King Philip in Spain. It's possible.
And if, a woman that's being abused by her husband leaves and files for divorce, it's possible that her situation will, wind up being worse. But that's not a reason to stay in an abusive relationship.
No doubt about it. Thanks for the call, Stefan. I appreciate it. Our toll-free number here, if you want to join us, is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. It's just the principle of supporting secession. It doesn't matter what the vision for the future is of those who are seceding. And I suspect that of those who are seceding, they all have somewhat different visions of what it would look like in their optimum future. 855-450-FREE.
Book Club Radio.
Today we're chatting with Mike Papantonio, leading trial lawyer and prolific author. His latest novel, Law and Vengeance, is a non-stop, action-packed legal thriller. We spoke with him about the book and the real-life issues that inform and inspire his writing.
You would think, especially in the legal profession, that women should have every opportunity to excel. The glass ceiling in the practice of law is no different anywhere else. Over the years, I've worked with some of the most talented female trial lawyers, and Gina Romano is kind of a composite of that. She has the tenacity, she has the compassion, she has the intellect, she has the training, she just has it all. And when I really see a very talented female trial lawyer, that's what I see. So she's a creation from all that. People that I've actually tried cases with and women I've tried cases against. And that's where Gina Romano comes from.
On the heels of the critically acclaimed legal thriller, Law and Disorder, comes Law and Vengeance, the latest novel from famed trial attorney Mike Papantonio. Law and Vengeance follows the law firm of Bergman Dichotomus, who is now in the crosshairs of a weapons manufacturer. But this is not a law firm that plays by all the rules. Based on a real case, Law and Vengeance, the riveting new legal thriller by Mike Papantonio, is available wherever books are sold.
Earlier this year, after many years of conflict over the direction of Bitcoin, the creators of Bitcoin Cash did just what they were told to do. They forked off. Now there are two Bitcoins, the one that is run by the big bank patsies, and Bitcoin Cash, the one that stays true to the creator's vision. Bitcoin Cash has surprised many with its relevancy and staying power, and the price reflects it. If you believe that Bitcoin was meant to be a low-cost, easy-to-use, peer-to-peer currency that could bring economic freedom to the world, you need Bitcoin Cash. Get your Bitcoin Cash wallet right now at bitcoin.com.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that tenth of a calorie it takes to click on something. Facebook.freetalklive.com.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. You dial toll free. You bring up whatever you want. Our number here is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. 855-450-3733. We've got Skype. And you can Skype in here at username LRN.FM. Joining you tonight, you've got Ian,
Chris,
and Darryl.
And also want to let you know about freetalklive.com. We've got a lot of features on the site. We give them away to you. One of those features is the ability to actually create the site content. What you see on the front page was put there by listeners just like you. It's a Reddit-based front page. You can submit, let's say, a news story or a YouTube video or something that you think's interesting or outrageous or exciting, fun, something you think our other listeners will appreciate, because then they can vote them up or down based on how they feel about it, and then we'll look at it and see whether we want to talk about those things on the radio, and a lot of times we do. So head on over to freetalklive.com, get interactive there. It's a completely free site, unlike those other talk show hosts that want to charge you for accessing their sites. Again, that's freetalklive.com. To the phones, to your calls and thoughts. Doug calling from Trenton, New Jersey. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Doug.
Hey, how you doing, guys?
What's on your mind tonight?
My name is Doug Sattel. There's a desert backdrop captioned Corruption Part 2 in YouTube. You drag the soundboard of 3 hours, 10 minutes.
All right, so we've asked you on previous occasions to not talk about, constantly plug your YouTube channel. So we're just going to go ahead and say goodbye, and you're not allowed to call this show for at least 2 months. Thanks for the call. All right, so thanks, bye. Okay, so you made it clear to him last week, Darryl,
Yes.
right, that just because he hadn't plugged his YouTube URL, you don't just call in and talk about the videos on your YouTube channel that are the most boring bastard videos you could ever possibly watch. I know,
but it's only 3 hours and 10 minutes and 14 seconds.
Right. The first, no, that was where he wanted you to drag the needle to, right? The video is probably longer than that.
Oh, I didn't catch the drag the needle to.
Yeah. So, sorry, this is not, you get to call and plug
live
every video you've ever made on your YouTube channel. Because I've made a bunch of good videos, too, at the Free Keen YouTube channel, but I don't spend, every night on the show talking about every one of those videos. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. Hopefully there's something interesting in your life or the news that you want to talk about that hopefully other people will find interesting as well. So you can join us here. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom, as we continue here. You, Darryl, never did get to your comparison between Spain, what's going on there with Catalonia looking to secede from Spain, and what later became the United States, the colonies at that time.
Right, and again, it's just a very quick observation to where you've got the Spanish king and the Spanish prime minister both saying, it's illegal for you to secede. Well, the same thing happened where King George III said that it was illegal for the colonists to do a bunch of things. And Patrick Henry, very well-known founding father, in 1765. Now, keep track, that was roughly 11 years before the Declaration of Independence. He wound up giving a speech just a few days after he wound up being elected to, I believe it was the Virginia Assembly, where he was talking about the Stamp Act, and he did not believe that the British Parliament had the authority to wind up taxing the colonists. He said only colonial assemblies had the right to impose taxes on their constituents, adding Caesar had his Brutus, Charles I his Cromwell, George III, and mid-sentence he was interrupted by people in the crowd chanting, "Treason! Treason!" He finished by saying, may profit from their example. So again, the point he was making, full quote, uninterrupted, Caesar had his Brutus, Charles I his Cromwell, and George III may profit by their example. He finished by saying, if this be treason, make the most of it. Which sounds very similar to what Carlos Puigdemont is saying of, yeah, I know that I'm probably going to wind up getting arrested on Monday.
F it.
I don't care.
Right.
This is the right thing to do.
I love it. I love it. I mean, I wish him the best. I hope that he doesn't end up getting his head chopped off over this situation. But risk is involved.
Right.
If you want to see significant change in the world, you got to put something on the line.
Again, I feel that it needs to be said, just because we're supporting Catalan independence does not mean that we're supporting what the Catalans want to do after they get independence.
No doubt.
We're just
Whatever
supporting, break up all of the central governments and have more smaller things.
Yeah. I mean, because we're not to the point yet where we can abolish the state. I mean, I wish we were. I wish we could just push that button, that magical red button, and just get rid of the state. But it's not going to happen anytime soon. We'll be lucky to see it in our lifetime.
I would push the button only if, and we're talking about this weird, what is it, Rothbard's button?
I don't know who made it up.
Of, if you push this hypothetical button that doesn't exist, then all governments would cease to exist. Well, if I push the button, then does it automatically educate everybody about the need for why we don't need government?
No, I guess it wouldn't, would it? Yeah.
So if it, automatically educated everybody.
If it enlightened everybody, yeah, that'd be amazing, right?
Right. So if it was, here's the button of enlightenment, yeah, I would press the button of enlightenment.
Otherwise, if you press the button and people aren't enlightened, then they'll just go and create governments again. So if tomorrow all the governments disappeared, a bunch of people are going to freak out and wonder why they don't have their government anymore, and they're going to go ahead and make another one.
And then where's my mail? Why did the post office? Oh, right, because there's not a thing, and FedEx and UPS can't deliver first class.
Well, if you push the button,
but if you push the button, then UPS and FedEx could deliver first class mail.
If you push the button, would the post office just become a private organization, or would it disappear?
Well, see, the state lovers say that the post office is a private organization.
That's not true.
That just winds up getting bailed out to the tune of like $7 billion a year.
Right.
By the federal government, which means they're not private, especially when the Postmaster General is appointed by the President of the United States.
Right. And the Congress is setting the rules for the organization. They can't change. Like, when you look at the news stories about the post office failing.
Yeah, they can't change their postage rates without congressional approval.
Anything. They can't change the days of delivery.
UPS and FedEx, they can, we had a board meeting. We're going to reduce these rates by 0.5 cent per ounce or whatever. We're going to increase these.
They probably don't even need to have a board meeting for that. But the federal government has to give them approval of whatever the program, whatever plan changes they want to make, whatever business changes they want to. So even if they've got a good idea, they still have to run it by Congress first.
Right. Yep. We want to issue this special stamp as a way to wind up increasing stamp sales. Oh, well, then you've got to go before some committee in D.C. and beg them to allow you.
Yeah, what would happen if New Hampshire seceded from the U.S.? What would happen with the Postal Service?
Shire post office would be created, and we'd have hobbits with furry feet running around delivering mail.
Not a very realistic answer, but I think that there are going to be questions that people have about, how things will be done.
Well, I can almost guarantee you that mail delivery would wind up being more efficient because right now, if I write a letter and I want it delivered 3 blocks down the street and I drop it in the little blue box a block and a half down the street, it goes to Manchester before it goes down the street.
Yeah, I think you might be right.
And
about
I can't
that.
just go drop it in the guy's mailbox because that's
illegal.
a federal felony.
Right. It's true.
You have to wonder why it has to go to Manchester.
Because bureaucracy.
Postmarks.
Is it? Or is there another reason for it that we just don't know about?
Good question. If you know, you can answer. 855-450 free.
Want revenge on the common housefly? Well, after 10,000 years, someone has finally come up with a better way. The Bug Assault, a miniaturized shotgun, which utilizes ordinary table salt as ammunition. Non-toxic and no batteries required. $39.95 plus shipping and handling. Use discount code GCN and receive 15% off your purchase at bugassault.com. Fire your fly swatter and get your Bug Assault today.
Dr. Carolyn Dean wants you to have a free chapter of her new book, The Magnesium Miracle 2nd Edition, and it's available at magmiracle.com. In your free chapter, Dr. Carolyn Dean explains how magnesium is essential to support the structure and function and overall health of your body. Your free chapter is your guide to learn how to support your heart, bone, metabolic, lung, and mental health with this powerful mineral. The Magnesium Miracle 2nd Edition is available on Amazon, but right now get a free chapter at magmiracle.com, spelled M-A-G, miracle.com.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live. You can dial toll-free to join us right here. Our number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom, 855-450-3733. We do have Skype, and the Skype username is LRN.FM. Joining you tonight, it's Ian,
Chris,
and Darryl.
Of course, you can join us online. Head over to freetalklive.com. We got a lot of features on our site, but if you like Free Talk Live and you appreciate the work that we do here, then please join the AMP program. AMP stands for Advertise, Market, and Promote. And the idea is you send $5 a month into Free Talk Live. We will take that and invest it into the show so we can get on more radio stations around the country and bring more internet listeners on board, exposing new people to the ideas of freedom. So if you like freedom, you like more people hearing those ideas, then please get behind the show over at amp.freetalklive.com. It's only $5 a month, price of a fancy cup of coffee. I mean, it's not a whole lot, but it makes a difference for us because if we get $5 from a bunch of people, it really adds up and it makes it more possible for us to more effectively advertise, market, and promote. And you get perks too, like access to the AMP-only Facebook group, the AMP-only podcast, and more. Get all the details and get signed up with Bitcoin, with PayPal, with credit cards over at amp.freetalklive.com. As we go to your phone calls and thoughts, Sarah is on the line in Albuquerque. Sarah, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead.
Yes, I wanted to talk you in. I broke the news to Darryl last night that the sick day pay leave, the sick-day leave, it was voted down here by 700 votes. People actually voted against it.
And what is a sick-day pay leave? What is that?
So when you're sick and you can't work if you miss maybe 10 days of work because you have the flu, the boss would pay you for those days. So you pay your rent. And actually, the voters here, I was shocked. It was over 700 people. It was like a 1% difference. So it was like 49 to 51.
So let's give an example here. Ian, instead of you being self-employed, if you had a job working for the local grocery store, you wound up having a sick day and they didn't necessarily have a sick day policy. If this thing went through that Sarah's talking about,
but it didn't,
then
right?
It did not go through. But if it had, and you have to, take sick day, it would force that local grocery store to then pay you time off.
How many days were proposed here, Sarah? Like per year, was there a certain number of paid sick days that the employee would be able to acquire?
Well, I was told that it was for every 30 days that you work, that you would acquire 1 sick pay day. That's how it broke down to. So if you work 7 months,
12 a year.
And would it would it accumulate over time, meaning that if you don't use the 12 days in the 1 year, that you'd have 12 days for year number 2, and then you'd get 24 days by year number 2, the end of year number 2?
Well, something, I don't know the intricate details, but that was
because you've never had a job, right?
Well, the thing about it is it was a very, very involved ordinance, what I was told.
So I pulled something up here from the Albuquerque Business Journal.
It's just an ordinance?
It was a proposed ordinance that wound up being shot down because it was proposed by voters. It was a voter-driven referendum thing. The ordinance would have said that employers with a physical presence in Albuquerque would be required to allow employees to earn 1 hour of sick time per 30 hours worked.
30 hours? Okay, that's different than 30 days.
That's way different.
1 hour of sick time per 30 hours. So basically,
1 hour. Okay.
Just over 1 hour per week, assuming you work full time.
I see. Okay.
Also states that employers with 40 or more employees would be required to allow workers up to 56 hours of each earned sick time per year, and employers with fewer than 40 employees to allow workers up to 40 hours of earned sick time per year.
Yeah, it's very complicated, but the thing is, they got everybody so scared that they're so afraid that they're not going to have a job at all. That was a big scare. You know what I mean?
Who got everybody scared? I'm not clear on who you're talking about.
Well, the business people, they were talking that if you make the
business people just trying to take advantage of their workers, aren't they, Sarah?
Well, you know what? That's my perspective of it. Is that they're so afraid that they're not going to have a job.
Isn't it possible the workers are trying to take advantage of the business owner too? Meaning that if they get a bunch of sick days, that they're just going to use them because they know they can, even if they're not sick.
Right. Yeah. So when I worked for an airline several years ago now, they had a policy to where you could actually convert unused sick days to vacation days. I would convert a week of unused sick days and basically wind up getting an extra week of vacation every year. And then at the end of the year, because I was never sick, I was able to sell those unused sick days back to the company.
Really?
And then wind up getting paid for an extra week, plus get that extra week of it. I gamed their system and got extra vacation and extra money from them.
Sweet. You know, Sarah, if companies want to offer these sorts of things on their own volition, then I think that's great. I think that that's something that the marketplace can provide when companies want to be more competitive, when a company wants to attract.
What Target just did, where they said that they are going to increase their wages.
Okay.
To where over the course of several years, their starting wage is going to be $15 per hour.
Wow.
They're not doing this because all of these cities and towns are forcing them to do it. They, you know what? We want to be seen as better than our competition, because there's already some people that look at Target as just, oh, that's Walmart for snobby people. Well, you know what? Maybe they are. Maybe they want to be seen as a more upscale place than Walmart. So you know what? We're going to pay our people more than Walmart pays theirs.
And they're hoping that their buyers, customers, will support that move.
And they wind up getting a better quality employee, somebody that actually wants to work there instead of just some high school kid that I've only got a job because mom and dad said I've got to have a job if I want to have an Xbox.
But you don't think from a communist, I'm a communist. I was told that this sick day ordinance was backed up by the Communist Party in New Mexico. Well, I mean, but this is what communist people do: is we protect workers and workers' rights.
No, what communists do in state-run communism is they force other people to go along with what they want under the guise of protecting people.
How about protecting individuals and their rights to do what they want? I mean, I support people being able to organize themselves however they want to. If somebody wants to form a union, they should be able to form a union. If a business owner wants to allow people to have sick days, they should be able to allow that. But if another business owner doesn't want to allow that, then that should be their choice. And then other people can decide whether or not they want to patronize that business.
Right. And
people can make choices.
If there's a business that mistreats their employees, then sooner or later everybody's going to find out about that, and nobody's going to go work there.
You'd think, yeah.
And then they're going to go out of business because they have no workers.
I'm still trying to figure out how the government taking 70% of my labor or my wealth is helpful or beneficial to me.
70%? When do they?
Well, no. I mean, so 15%, and then there's like self-employment, so it's another 15%. So really, I mean, a lot of times
you're saying this as a business owner.
Yeah, so I'm self-employed, so I reckon I understand.
Well, once you add up all of the taxes,
is it really 70%?
Yeah, I mean, if you really start calculating,
we're talking about factoring in like property tax,
sales taxes, and all sorts of other tax. Yeah,
the entire tax burden.
Yeah.
So you're saying top to bottom, federal to local, you believe your tax burden is 70%?
I think it's around 70%.
Wow,
that sounds about accurate. 70 might even be a little low once you factor in fuel taxes, any
I did not factor in fuel taxes.
Right. What about factoring in regulatory obedience, right? Like, I mean, you probably don't run into a lot of it.
That's another 20%.
But yeah, like in businesses that are heavily regulated, there are costs involved in obeying the regulations that you can't exactly see clearly on an invoice somewhere. Toll-free number here is 855. Thanks, Sarah, for the call tonight. I appreciate the discussion. She, to her credit, I don't agree with her, but she does bring up some interesting topics sometimes. 855-450-FREE.
Crimes of the Crown by Captain Mark. The Crown casts the world in shadow and claims to be our guiding light. Cowards clamor for security from boogeymen and ghost stories. While I say these hobgoblins are imaginary, I say those they propped up as our liberators are now subsisting on our bondage. I say there is freedom in the black, and that's exactly where we intend to go. The Crown banishes its own officers for exposing its crimes and tortures dissidents to the brink of madness. It dominates the globe and swallows the wealth of generations, leaving only blood and excrement. The Crown calls it piracy to explore frontiers beyond its grasp. So the time has come for us to define the conduct among pirates. I say the Crown has trampled our necks long enough. Need decentralized solutions to centralized problems? Looking for a community of like-minded scoundrels, or just want some swag to let the Crown know what you think of it? Join the conversation at pirateswithoutborders.com. We won't be hard to find.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control over your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank account, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problems now by calling the experts at Tax Mediation Services and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. Tax Mediation Services is accredited by the Better Business Bureau. Call now for a free case review and a price protection guaranteed quote.
Call Tax Mediation Services now at 800-610-7740. That's 800-610-7740. 800-610-7740.
Several weeks after the car accident that resulted in the death of his longtime friend Matthew Abrams, local man Keith Bisbee told Onion reporters today that he isn't sure how much longer he should continue using the photo of his deceased friend as his profile picture on Facebook.
People can't really expect me to keep this up forever, right?
Bisbee told reporters he felt like he had done more than his part to preserve the young man's memory. Bisbee added, however, that he had no idea when to go about changing his profile picture.
I'm pretty sure nobody would judge me if I went ahead and changed the photo right now. Matt wouldn't expect me to still have a picture of him up. I mean, I wouldn't expect that of him. You know, I should just do it. Maybe I can go online later tonight when nobody's on. But his girlfriend gets home late from work. I don't really want to seem disrespectful. Maybe I could do it tomorrow morning, or...
At this time, Bisbee has reluctantly changed his profile picture to an image of a gay rights equal sign and is, quote, just waiting to see what happens next.
This is the Onion News Network.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media, and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free, at apps.lrn.fm.
We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
Hey, Free Talk Live here. Take your calls about anything you want to discuss. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom, 855-450-3733, and Skype in to join us here. Skype username is LRN.FM. Of course, lots in the news to discuss, more than we can ever really get to. Man, it's been one of those weeks where the interesting news has just kept on coming. I've loaded up my show prep, and we're just not going to have time to talk about most of it. But on the way here, we've got... There's the story that's way too detailed tonight. Maybe we'll talk about it over the weekend. But there's been some very interesting numbers that have come out about smartphone use and young people in America. Like whatever the generation's going to be called after the millennials and their usage of smartphones and how it has possibly led to depression. It's pretty shocking stuff. So that may be sometime later this weekend here on Free Talk Live. Of course, you can join us online anytime over at freetalklive.com. Head on over there and get interactive in a variety of different ways, including our forum where listeners, longtime listeners, and new listeners have been getting together and talking about various different things related to Free Talk Live or LRN.FM or the Shire Society, the New Hampshire Freedom Migration. A lot of the hosts of the show and libertarians who've moved to New Hampshire are on that forum. So if you've got questions about what life is like when you're actually around more libertarians that you can possibly get to know, it's a pretty interesting forum. So
you get to pick and choose which libertarians you hang out with as opposed to feeling compelled to Well, you're the only other libertarian in the town, so we've got to be friends now, even though you don't get along.
Right. So head over to forum.freetalklive.com. You can get interactive there. It's free. Forum.freetalklive.com. So, Chris from Think Penguin, by the way, listeners can go and check out some pretty cool privacy-oriented computer products like laptops and desktops and routers that are super privacy-oriented over at thinkpenguin.com. You've brought a story in tonight about Equifax. They're back in the news.
They are.
Not about the hack this time, because we did talk about their the major data breach that they had. What was it? A few months ago. It was over the summer, but the news took like a month to come out after it had originally happened.
Yeah, they like kind of hid the fact that it happened long enough for the CEOs and some of the executives to
sell their
shares. Yeah,
and that affected what, millions, 100 million, 140 million people, or something like that.
143 million was the number that I had heard, and also
145.5.
Well, what I originally heard was from the U.S., Canada, and UK, but Chris's story seems to imply that number is all from the U.S., and there were additional people from Canada and the UK
I was confused about that when we first started reporting on it, but yeah, most of the stories say that the 143, and then there was 2 more million that came out recently. So one of the predictions, I think it was, I don't know if it was TechCrunch, but one of the tech websites out there made was that every time a data breach gets announced, it's always worse than they initially announced.
Right. Like there was the headline several months ago where Yahoo admitted, oh, yeah, in 2013, we had a bunch of stuff get hacked. And then just last week, the company that bought Yahoo wound up very quietly, or not very quietly, but it didn't wind up getting the media fanfare that the original announcement of the hack got. But was it Verizon that just bought Yahoo, where they said, yeah, it was every email address on Yahoo that got hacked?
Wow.
Every email address.
And that's a lot of emails.
Millions.
Sure is.
Yeah, because Yahoo was one of the big...
It was. Most of them probably haven't been logged into in half a decade.
I still frequently see Yahoo.
Do you really?
Yeah, it's actually still very common address, and not as common as Gmail probably these days, but it's certainly still very, very, very heavily used amongst non or less technical folks is probably the best way to phrase it.
Yahoo isn't what they used to be, though.
So what's the new update here on Equifax?
So the IRS awards $1 million fraud prevention contract to Equifax. So the company that just lost 145 million American records on 145 million Americans. So Social Security numbers, things of that nature.
So basically every taxpayer.
Yeah, basically. I don't know. Is that the number of taxpayers? I'm not even sure what that number is. Interesting. So basically, about half the population of America, they've lost. They have records on all of us, and they lost about half of us.
Well, I don't think they have records on every human in the United States. Only those that actually wind up
anybody with
having
Social Security
anything.
number.
Well, there are 4-year-olds with Social Security numbers that don't have a credit report because they've never wound up getting a bank account or opening up, certain lines of credit.
And the IRS hasn't had a tax filing from those people, so they don't have a record probably
not.
either.
Probably not.
So, the Equifax credit
that's
thing,
the 150 million that are not here probably.
Right, and those would be the people that don't have a credit report.
Right.
4-year-olds don't have credit reports.
Not yet.
Yeah, they do have Social Security numbers in most cases nowadays.
Right.
Unless their parents unless their parents are incredibly freedom-oriented people who refuse to have their baby in a hospital or refuse to allow the hospital to file the paperwork that they almost always file. Every now and then you'll find somebody who's got the parents who are really Johnny on the spot and refuse to allow a Social Security number to be created. And that's very interesting when that happens.
Was there a story out about how somebody's kids were taken away because the parents refused to let them the hospital issue a social security number or something to that effect?
I remember there was a story where that was what some sites wound up reporting, but there were actually other things connected.
Uh-huh.
And I don't remember the details, but that was just, like one minor little footnote in the entire thing.
Yeah, I know there was some story recently where some kid got vaccinated by force.
Oh, wow.
By a court.
Okay.
But that was
I
also...
think that happens fairly routinely, actually.
That was also, it had something to do with a custody battle. So, one parent wanted
just like
it,
there was the story a couple years ago about the child that wound up, I think he was like a 4-year-old boy, wound up being circumcised by court order because, again, it was a custody thing, and one parent wanted it, the other parent didn't, and then whenever there's custody disputes, they go to a judge.
Let's get back into the story, though. So what's going on with Equifax and the IRS?
All right, so the IRS is basically paying Equifax $7.25 million to verify taxpayer identities and help prevent fraud under a this is the great part, no bid contract issued last week. Even as lawmakers lash the embattled company about a massive security breach that exposed personal information on as many as 145.5 million Americans. A contract award for Equifax Data Services was posted to the Federal Business page 2. Opportunities.
Yes, you actually print your page. You're the only guy besides, I guess Johnson does
and
it
it's
too.
It's hilarious because I have a tech company.
Right.
And I'm very, very technical.
But every time you do this, I'm reminded of the old Paul Harvey long form news show to where he would always say, "And now page 2,"
which is why I just started doing it.
And then he would just always flawlessly go into a commercial and then back into the news.
He was a master at his art form. There's no doubt.
Opportunities database September 30th, the final day of the fiscal year. The credit agency will verify taxpayer identity and assist in ongoing identity verification and validations at the IRS, according to the award.
So basically, they are becoming a contractor with the IRS. The IRS is going to look to them. They're contracting out some sort of validation of data. How close are we to the U.S. government nationalizing Equifax at this point? I mean, they'd have the excuse, right? The Congress could say, well, clearly we can't allow private information to be in the hands of these private companies because they are mishandling this data. So only we, the government, should be the ones who are doing this, and then take over the operations of Equifax.
Yeah. Let's keep going. The notice describes the contract as a sole source order, meaning Equifax is the only company deemed capable of providing the service. This just makes me laugh. I have a hard time believing this because I know there's at least two others.
TransUnion. There's Equifax, and then there's Experian
that have the same basic set of information.
Correct.
It varies a little bit from one to the other.
Yeah,
but they should be able to at least do it.
This is total political favoritism here, obviously. And so they're saying, "Oh, we've determined Equifax is the only company that can handle this. That's why we didn't put it out to bid. No one else could possibly handle this. We know what's best." I wish we had more time, but we don't. But check out more of Chris over at thinkpenguin.com. Get your cool Linux privacy-oriented computer hardware through them, and will continue tomorrow. You can join us online in the meantime at freetalklive.com.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippie! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
There's no better app for tracking the value of cryptocurrencies than CoinCap. I've had a lot of apps for tracking Bitcoin, but none that's ever been able to track 500 digital assets at once. Their best feature is the Altfolio. I love this thing. You enter how many Bitcoins, Ether, Dash, Doge, or whatever else you have, and it tells you how much your crypto is worth. You can watch yourself get rich. If you have crypto, go right now to coincap.io, or you can use the Apple Store or Google Play to get the app. I love CoinCap. coincap.io.
You may already know about the Free Talk Live audio-on-demand phone line at 641-793-9660. Did you know that not only can you listen to Free Talk Live via your phone, you can also leave a message and have it delivered to Free Talk Live's hosts? To leave us your thoughts, just dial 641-793-9660. That's 641-793-9660. Press 2 for Free Talk Live, and then hit 0 to leave your message.
The Torchwood Report is coming up next, live after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Friday, October 6th, 2017. Silver is trading at $16.63 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,269 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 4.3 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $4,328. Antiwar.com reports the Red Cross delegation in Syria has issued a new statement warning that escalating violence in eastern Syria is leading both to a harrowing spike in civilian deaths and a soaring number of displaced persons for aid groups to try to contend with. Aid workers likened the current level of violence to that in Aleppo in early 2016 when the Syrian military was trying to siege the major northern city and expel al-Qaeda's Nusra Front. The Syrian government is not driving this latest escalation, however. This time, it's the United States and, to a lesser extent, Russia, who in the course of competing anti-the Islamic State operations are dramatically increasing airstrikes. Those strikes have particularly been in densely populated cities like U.S. strikes in Raqqa, putting locals at serious risk. Making matters worse, the airstrikes around Raqqa and Deir ez-Zor have hit at least 10 hospitals in the last 10 days. The Red Cross warned that attacks on hospitals and infrastructure are making caring for the civilian population even harder. Born into a devastating world and raised among the crowd, the Cloudwalker assumes a new identity and begins the unrelenting quest for truth. Through the journal of the Cloudwalker, he shares both the traumatic hardships and the eternal beauties of his experiences. Dear Society by the Cloudwalker is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. UPI reports Virginia Governor Terry McAuliffe announced Thursday that Facebook will build a $1 billion data center just outside Richmond, the state's capital. The center, planned to be built in eastern Henrico County, will involve $750 million in construction and $250 million for solar power infrastructure to power the project. McAuliffe said, working with companies like Facebook and many others, we are advancing Virginia's position as a global leader in the technology economy. Local media reported that the Virginia Economic Development Partnership will give Facebook $19 million in tax exemptions, and the project is expected to create 100 full-time jobs in addition to the more than 2,400 temporary construction jobs. Richmond-based Dominion Resources was awarded the $250 million contract to construct the solar facility. Bobby Hollis, director of global energy at Facebook, said, "We came together with Dominion Energy Virginia to create a new tariff that ensures renewable energy solutions are accessible not just to Facebook,